Ladies and gents, welcome back. Holy cow, has it been another week? It has, and holy, we are thirsty tonight. Let me tell you something, folks. Grab yourself a wobbly pop and climb on up, snuggle up to your phone or your TV or your wherever you're watching this on. In fact, chat, come on in here. Tell me, what do you watch this show on usually? If you're in the chat and you're typing away, type it in. Say, do you use your phone? Do you use a pad, a tablet, a TV? Do you use your computer? Are you sitting on the couch? What are you doing? Let's hear this. I wanna hear laptop. We got all kinds of stuff, iPads, and all kinds of different things. While you guys are filling that in, I'm gonna give myself a little top up here. Oh, what's this? Is that a new mug? Whoa, that just dropped on the shop just tonight. You guys can go get your usual thing. Head on over to the store. This is the new mug. A lot of people have been asking for this, and we're obliging. And we're making sure that people can get themselves one of these over at the shop. Actually, let me pop this up on the screen because everybody needs to know where to go for this. Picture in picture. Go to the Clyde Do Something shop. It's ClydeDoSomething.com. Get on over there. We've got the new mug, and you can get some of that. Oh boy, that is so good. We're gonna have many different ones. Don't worry. But this is the iconic one I'm always drinking out of when I'm doing the morning shows. I'm gonna slush that back before it'll get warm if I don't keep it in my thing here. But welcome in, everybody. Get yourself over there. Get yourself one of those. We're gonna talk a bit about this as well today because wow, perfect opportunity. Thank you, woke CEOs that come up with great ideas of jumping on political bandwagons and doing business that way. Well, it didn't work out so well for a coffee company, and we're coming in to reap the benefits and say, hey, you know what? You can get yourself an alternative that's actually made here by local people and people with probably similar outlook as yourself, perhaps. Let's see about that. But what's been happening in the news this week has been, I mean, it's nuts. It keeps changing too, and this is, I've said this many times already now. Marty and I will do a video, and I like to take those clips from the video and then make shorts with them. By the time I get around to actually editing some of the stuff up, it's already irrelevant. We've moved past it. We're moving into something else entirely, and that's just crazy. That really is just crazy. But where are we now? If we look on the intranets, we can see Donald Trump here posting just today, I'll be signing an executive order next week ending the ridiculous Biden push for paper straws, which don't work. Back to plastic. We're going back to plastic, baby. But that's, of course, in the United States of America. Let's hope we can have a little bit more common sense moving forward in Canada. And I'm worried. I'm really worried about that. Not gonna lie. I'm concerned because of polling numbers. I'm concerned about just the whimsical nature of Canadian voters. I know a lot of you guys, you're educating yourselves. You're figuring this stuff out. You're out there. You're searching. You're actively looking, seeing what are the different philosophies that are being brought forward here, and you're seeing that dual citizen. Right on. Are you a dual citizen? I am as well. I have 200 plastic straws. So this is something I actually do. In our family van, because we have a minivan for the family, we keep a whole packet of straws, plastic straws that we bought from Amazon, and we've got those in there. And they even come with a little paper thing that fast food places used to have on them. It's crazy. Plastic straw, paper wrapper, not the other way around, because that's the other way around. The other way, they got the plastic wrapper on a paper straw. It negates the whole purpose of anything what we're doing. all they're just trying to do is demoralize and make life more miserable. That's what we're seeing. That's really what we're seeing, because that's all that ever does. It turns out there may be some nasty chemicals that hold those paper straws together and they leach out while you're drinking. Not great. Not great. So let's yeah, I'd like to say let's get back to some common sense on that one. But here we are. Here we are. The question of the day, I guess, the question here is, what are we doing? What are we doing? I put this in the little write-up going into the start of the stream. The decisions that we make today are going to affect where Canada stands, where Canada sits going into the second half of this century. We're still in the early stages of this century, the roaring 20s. Not so roaring, not for us Canadians, but we're really looking at where do we stand, and are we gonna honestly we're gonna try to do this alone? Like this whole Team Canada approach by Trudeau and some of these premiers, yeah, not really something that I think, and it's tugging on the egos of people. Yeah, we're tough, we're Canadians, we could do it alone, we could go into the no. That's probably not the smartest idea, and it's probably, we're going to see a lot more of an antagonistic world moving forward. Actually, the fact of the matter is there's going to be a lot of fight over the Arctic. Now, whether or not you believe the climate is changing because of this or that, I would like to say that at some point, the ice age that we're currently in, because we are in an ice age, by the way, we're in the Pleistocene ice age. At some point, that could end. Which would lead to a lot more inhabitable spaces around the planet, mainly northern regions. If you've studied your world history, yeah, we've gone in and out of ice ages over millennia. This is something that happens, and there is a push now with the prediction that there may be, regions opening up in the north, that Canada is a hot, contested area. And this is a real situation here. Trudeau's tampon for $2.79. I love the name, by the way. It cracks me up every time. Is it where we stand or who we stand as? Is it where we stand or who we stand as? I mean, is there a significant difference there? What I'm talking about is where we position ourselves. Yeah. Is it where we stand or who we stand? Well, if it doesn't matter, we'll be standing here. Canada is still going to be the region that it is, but it's about who's going to actually have vested interest in this area. The Earth, the rare Earth, the Earths in the Arctic, the Northern Passage. That's right. So there's lots of minerals to be had. And there's some truth to this. There's some absolute truth to all of this. Big Northern, why is it only showing me a portion of your name on there? Do I have to widen it out? Can I widen it out? Hold on a second. I wanna see the whole name. Why isn't YouTube showing me the whole name? That's just not cool. YouTube, what are you doing? There we go. Big Northern Bear's brain cancer journey. That is quite the name, my man. For $13.99 says, I worry Wu-Tay a bit. Am I reading that wrong? I worry Wu-Tay a bit of what kind of country we will leave to the next generations after electing these clowns. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, and this is my worry. This is what I'm getting into in this live stream tonight. We're going to be talking a lot about this. 2 videos from CTV today about what? About this stuff. Well, there's been a lot of videos all over the place talking about these things. Live chat? Yeah, I did. I switched it to live chat. Thank you for the reminder, though. That's That's very helpful, very helpful. And now I've got this other chat where I can actually see the names of people because it's large enough. Trish Brew with a 279 super chat. Hit that like button, everyone. That would be very helpful if you got over there and hit that like button. Absolutely super helpful. Let me just get this one down here and get that up there. And here we go. So yeah, holy cow, the likes versus views at the moment ratio, horrible. You know, I gotta do this. Every time I see this situation, I have to mention it. You know, likes are very valuable on YouTube. I know, they're free. You can only do one. But the thing is, the algorithm really looks at likes, engagement, chats, comments, all of this stuff. If you do engage with a video, it tells YouTube's algorithm that this is worthwhile clicking on. And you know what? And since it's worthwhile clicking on and we want to sell more ads to more people, here's what we're going to do. We're going to recommend this to more people tonight, and we're going to try to get more people into the show. And that's how that works. And I'm sticking to my guns on that one. It's definitely been great so far, and it's been helpful, and I really appreciate it. And I want to thank you guys all for doing that. So go hit that like button down below or to the side or wherever it is on your browser that you're looking at, and help the show out a ton. Thank you very much. Now let's get into this. Steve Bannon recently had, I mean, he's out there doing a lot of stuff. I think this was on Global News, and he was talking about Canada's position in the world moving forward. And this one really hit home with me because it makes so much sense. Now we know that China has been trying their damn best to infiltrate this country on a political level. Absolutely. Pull up the CTV video. Canadians prefer Carney over Pierre against. Oh yes. So I'm gonna get to that. I think Mark Nixon had something on that. So we'll get there. But China has been trying to influence Canada for some time, and it's because they have this plan for the next century. They want China to be the the ultimate superpower in the world. I doubt that that's going to work out just because of the fundamentals of their economy, the structure of their society, aging population, much like ours. Let's not forget, much like ours, and the declining population is really not helping this fake poll. See Wyatt Claypool. Yes. So there is a strategy there with these polls, and the strategy is to skew the data upward. Let's hope what we can do is do what Trump did. Actually, both times that he won, it was all three times that he won. It's astonishing, actually. The pollsters are scratching their heads and not realizing that a lot of the reason that their polling was skewed is because a lot of people are sick of pollsters, and they're saying, forget it. We're checking out. We're not going to engage with this process. And then the data ends up skewing the other way for their polling, but that's not the actual data that voters are actually their opinions. Anyway, I want to get into the Steve Bannon thing before we get too far and too off topic, because I think this is really important. Getting into the topic of today's show. This was him, I believe, on Global, but Ryan Garrettson tweeting it out, saying Canada's greatest defense is about to become your softest underbelly. A very interesting 3-minute commentary by Steve Bannon.
Canada's greatest defense is about to become your softest underbelly. The north of Canada, that open border with whatever climate changes, but the beginning of the Northwest Passage, but more importantly, China and Russia, the great powers, and the United
China and Russia, the great powers. Yukon J with a $10 super chat saying, hey, Clyde, almost home. 1,400 kilometers to go. Left Alaska on Sunday. Be home by tomorrow afternoon. 6 provinces, 1 territory, 8 states. and almost 20,000 kilometers. That's crazy. Awesome. For those that don't know, Yukon J was going all the way from Quebec all the way across Canada and then up into Anchorage, Alaska. Big trip. Came through Squamish and stopped at the meetup that Marty and I had. So I had the pleasure of meeting Yukon J. So congrats on the trip. That's so awesome. And looking forward to seeing you next time we do a meetup, because it'll be out in Eastern Canada, likely the next one. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm glad you've done this safely, and I'm glad it sounds like you're enjoying your trip. Let's get back to this.
United States fighting it out over the Arctic with the vast resources of the Arctic is going to be the new great game of the 21st century. Canada, you are thrust into the middle of that, and quite frankly, you are the greatest, I don't know if target or prize. You're like asking, you're the great prize of that. That as you awaken, and the geoeconomically, he's saying, hey, the United States market's so lucrative, you're going to have to pay a premium to get through the golden door, right? Canada could be all part of that.
Now, so that makes a lot of sense, this whole concept. He's kind of like talking about a myriad of different things all at the same time. But the golden door, getting through the golden door. Now, Canada's had this, free pass for a very, very long time, a free pass to the United States economy, where most other economies, there's kind of a barrier to get into their economy. Press for Truth lives in Squamish. I met Dan Dix a few times. He's a really good guy. Absolutely. Met him here and met him in the city. And I've had him on the show. Wobbly Pop in the form of G and T tonight. Gin and tonic. Love it. Awesome. Glad to hear it. I hope everybody's having a wobbly pop. If you're having a wobbly pop, say what kind of wobbly pop you're having in the chat. I'd love to hear it. I would love to hear it. Let's be Canada first and have open trade between provinces. FFS, we all understand what that means. I'm not going to say it out loud because I want to be able to keep this video going. That's the thing. So, this whole idea, and that brings up a really good point. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Well, why don't we actually toy with that one right now? Because this was something that, and I'm gonna have to find it, Pierre Poilievre brought up just today, I believe it was. For 9 years, Liberals failed to take down barriers between Canada that would let us trade together. Our common sense Canada First plan unleash free trade between Canadian provinces to save our country billions. Excuse me. And allow our people to buy Canadian from coast to coast to coast. Nobody's buying from the other coast. Like, what, the northern coast? What are you talking about? Nobody's buying from that coast. Two coasts. Canada must tear down its walls, blocking internal trade. This article from Toronto Sun reads out, and there is an opinion piece here from Jay Goldberg. Yeah, we need to tear down the barriers. We have incredible barriers in Canada. American President Donald Trump has paused his 25% tariff threat on Canadian goods entering the United States for 30 days. But the threat remains, and it's an existential one to Canada's economy. About 77, is that 77 or 7.7% of our exports go to our neighbors to the south. A 25% tariff on the United States could trigger a recession in Canada, double the magnitude of the recession in Canada experienced during the pandemic, according to RBC. In this scenario, gross domestic product would contract by at least 3.2%. Canada would be hit with its largest trade shock in nearly 100 years, said the bank in a statement. There could also be a prolonged recession and spike in unemployment should Trump's tariffs be put in place for any significant length of time, according to TD Bank. Now, why would that happen? And it would happen because the Prime Minister is not capitulating with the demands of Trump to secure our border. And the unsaid ones about fix your crime problem, Canada. You've got a serious letting people go problem, and your immigration is irresponsible and it's dangerous to us, i.e., bad guys, not tourists, but a word that sounds similar, going from Canada to the United States. It seems like willy-nilly, as much as they want to. Why did that fail on me? What is going on here? I don't know how to refresh that. How do I... Am I not live anymore? Are we live? What happened? I need to make sure. Connect your streaming software to start preview. Are we back? Yes. Okay. Well, for some reason I had this hiccup, and now this, not enough memory to open this page. Holy cow, I have that many tabs open. I'm gonna have to close some stuff. This is what's going on. I see. Learn more. No, how do I just do that? I'm gonna have to close that. Oh no! I'm gonna have to bring that back, bring the chat back. Where was I? I totally, that lost me. I got lost in that one. I'm gonna have to close a bunch of tabs, unfortunately. This is how I keep my stuff going, but it gets nuts. It gets nuts. I have so much going on the go at all times with this stuff that I end up losing my spot. So let's I'm just gonna have to do a random cull of a bunch of stuff here. Oh, that was a shame. I should have kept that one. I think I can bring that one back. Holy cow. Folks, this is what happens. This is what happens when you don't manage your tabs properly. Oh, let me open that one back up.
You're not gonna.
Okay, we're good. We're good. That's back. Technical troubles here. So what I'm gonna have to do is actually bring that, get the chat going again. Boy, oh boy, am I missing out. Yeah, you guys are laughing at me. Technical difficulties tonight. Wow, holy cow. All right, let's see how I do this. I haven't done this in a while. Go to studio mode, and then I can bring up the chat thing, and then I can first I have to get the chat up. Boy, oh boy. Look at me. I'm a professional. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's there. Let me make some adjustments here, and then we'll get this sorted. Apologies, of course, as these things happen. I thought my internet went down for a second there. That would have been awful. But nope, that's not what happened. Just another glitch, another hiccup. Let me make this happen. Got that. Pop this one out, so I have something that I can actually read. And then I think we're back. Let me go back to this scene and turn that off. We're good. Hey, look, I got the chat back. I got that back. Holy cow. What a thing to happen right now. It's Harper's fault. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm sure the Liberals will keep blaming Harper into the future forever. That's always the way it's going to be. So, yeah. I've done that. I've done too many tabs before. What a ride. Oh, sometimes you just, like... This is how my strategy works. I always just have like a window full of tabs, and that's what's gonna be a story. And then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna end up talking about that on Friday, so I'm gonna put that in there. I'll just throw that in there and just leave it and and then the tabs accumulate. It's really bad. It's a habit of mine, and it's a thing. Yeah, I gotta stop doing that. Do you have it on live chat or top chat? Thank you. I had it on top chat. Let's switch that over to live chat. We'll get that going. And I've totally lost my place on where I was and what I was talking about, what I was on about. I was on about this. I was I was talking about border trade within Canada. So honestly, ask yourself this. I replied to Pierre on this one. Good step in the right direction. Canada has no right to criticize international partners when we are so dysfunctional domestically. Transfer payments are a part of that dysfunction as well. I would add. This is not going to bode well for us, really and realistically. This is not going to bode well for us moving forward, because if we want to be able to trade with people internationally, we have to set the standard that we can do it even at home. And it's not helping us at all. It really is not helping us at all to make it more expensive for Canadians. This is why it's so expensive in Canada. We have so many barriers to entry into the marketplace. We have tiny demographics that you're allowed to. Say you wanted to get into the beer business. I don't like. For some people are getting into it with the craft breweries and all this stuff. You can't sell it across the provinces to another province. You can, but there's all these restrictions. It's awful. Doesn't matter what you're doing. The interprovincial trade barriers are awful. It's not hard enough that we have such a long corridor. We have just like such a vast amount of land that we have to travel, and that costs money with transportation of our products. But we also put all these other barriers on trade, and it really isn't helping Canadians out at all whatsoever. And what's the solution to this for most people? They just take their company and leave the country. That's usually the trend. Canadian companies becoming American companies. By the way, talked about one of those this morning. One of those this morning. That's right. We were talking about. Let me get this up. The National Post put this out there. Kicking Horse Coffee is calling cafes across the country to abandon the word Americano. We're gonna call it the Canadiano instead. Sounds stupid, I know. It's like the Freedom Fries, or the where they tried to change the name of Poutine. They wanted to change it because it sounded too much like Vladimir Putin, or in French they say Poutine, the Russian leader Putin. But this is another thing. That was just way too funny. Now, I did a video about this morning because, of course, I'm going to slam on them for doing this, the Team Canada approach. Canadiano replaces Americano inside BC coffee companies' quiet rebellion against Trump. And if you think this isn't about that, it is absolutely about that. Let me get this bigger screen here so I can see everything a little bit better. Wow. Look at me, professional tonight. So inside, the Kicking Horse Coffee is calling on cafes across the country to abandon Americano and call it Canadiano instead. Now, wait, please take a photo of your closet? Why would I take a photo of my closet? That is such a really strange request. Polaris sucks with a $5 super chat. My liberal brother loves Carney, but you can tell it's not genuine, but more of a Kamala type download he got from the liberal headquarters. Oh man. And I hate to say it, this is the reason why Americans do not want Canada as a voting demographic in the United States. This whole like 51st state thing, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. It isn't a thing. I mean, we'll talk about it. Maybe Alberta perhaps, but that's it. Especially a Republican president does not want to bring in another California. Not happening. Leftovers in your closet. Leftovers? Oh, your name's Cheesecake. Cheesecake leftovers in my closet? I have no idea what you're talking about. Salt Lake City, Utah, 2022 and 2034. Whatever that means. Clyde has a flannel closet. There you go. That's it. Anyway, so this story goes that They want to. They're doing a revolution. We're changing the name of Americano because of this. Now, if you don't know, and it's not odd of you to not know this, but Americano is actually what the Italians started calling it, because Americans would come over to Italy, they would ask for a coffee, but they wanted a drip coffee like is made in America, and they didn't have that. So the solution for them was to take a espresso, pour it in a cup, and fill it with hot water to make what would be like a drip coffee. So that was where the name Americano came from. Louise Goanlock, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, gifting 5 memberships to the channel. Thank you so much. And everybody that got a membership there, make sure you give a big old thank you for getting that free membership from Louise. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Where was I? The name of the Americano. Now, I've been hearing from people that Canadiano is actually a thing. It's another drink altogether. Some people just, so Canadiano is just another name for Northern Peso. That's our dollar. Yeah, that's our dollar. And Canadiano is espresso shot in a medium roast drip coffee. That's a Canadiano. So apparently there's a place up in Whistler that does a Canadiano, and it's like, I think it's a latte with a maple latte. Whatever. Of course, people don't agree. So this is like, is Canadiano really a thing? Anyway, they're wanting to change Americano to Canadiano, which is just lame. It really is lame. A BC coffee company is adding its jolt to the groundswell of Canadian pride through the brought on by trade tensions with the U.S. by calling on cafes across the country to abandon Americano and call it Canadiano instead. Lame. Absolutely lame. That's how the drink has been labeled on the menu at Kicking Horses Cafe in Invermere since it was established in 2008 alongside their commercial roastery. So they've only been around since 2008. Now that's going to be significant because they're talking about being Canadian prideful and keeping things in Canada. Well, we'll find out just how prideful they are about that whole thing coming up. 2008. Remember that number. Penny D with a $5 super chat. Thanks for coming. Hey, good to see you, Penny D. Hi, Clyde. I've missed your show lately. I hope you didn't think that I've abandoned you. I've been very, very busy. How are you doing? I'm doing great. I'm glad to hear that you're doing good, and welcome back. Good to see you again. Wokamano. I love that one. Get yourself a Kicking Horse Wokamano. That's great. Yeah, Penny D, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Now more than ever, we need to stick together and wear our Canadian pride on our sleeves. You have no pride. If you're going along with this whole thing, you're going along with Trudeau. And what did he say about Canadian culture and Canadian everything? We don't fundamentally have a culture. We're a post-nation state. Get out of here with this. Don't tell me you've got pride in Canada. I don't believe it. Kurt and Denise with $2 super chat saying, Clyde brews something dark. Humor is fire. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. You guys picked some up at the meet and greet. I'm glad to see that you guys are enjoying it. And since today, actually, since this story aired, we've sold a bunch. I know Yuji's going to be busy roasting this weekend because it really is. We're a small operation, so we get orders, we get roasting. That's how it works. So it's good stuff. And apparently Yuji got some requests today. We're going to be working on an espresso roast, so that's going to be a good one. Sean Gaw with a $5 super chat says, why can't Canada start trending with other countries instead of relying on the U.S.? Russell Matthews has been talking about Canada joining the BRICS. Your thought? My thought? Why would we go against the United States? I really, really, really fundamentally don't think that Canada ought to. I think it would be unwise for us to abandon our neighbors to the south. Absolutely, because if we abandon them, then they could abandon us, and I don't think we'd want that. Obviously, they don't want that. They don't want us to fall into the hands of China and all these other things. You got to remember, we've largely kept our ability. Infused bills loading. Please wait. Gold backs and we've had the protection of the American military for so long, and believe me, how much that is going to be crucial to our survival if there's contention over the Arctic moving forward into the future here. I wish the NDP Liberal Green WEF party would just fully unite and stop the charade already. In reality, Canada only has two national parties. No to BRICS. There you go. Thank you, Rare One Alberta, for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate that. That's it's going to be a thing. I'm going to get back to that because we're going to go back to Steve Bannon's talk here. Believe you me, that's a lot to do with it. Jay, I'm going to mispronounce your name, my man, and I'm apologizing ahead of time. Froelich? Maybe. Jay Froelich, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Dang, make coffee names after areas of BC. Oh, wouldn't that be fun? Kurt and Denise with another 2 saying free marketing campaign paid for by Kicking Horse. This is what this is. It really is. With them getting on board with this. So remember that 2008 number. Because this is where it gets funny. This is where it totally gets funny. Now, what is this? Canadian Pride grew this winter as tariff threats surged. Poll says, as they've done in Invermere, Kicking Horse is inviting coffee slinging shops to download a window display logo, a playful symbol of their participation in the movement, and change the name of their menu boards. Previously proudly serving Canadianos. Sorry, Americano, it's Canadiano now. The logo reads above a red and black maple leaf. Wow. Isn't that the Government of Canada symbol right there? Not just the maple leaf. It's the Government of Canada. Great job. You just like govern me harder, daddy. That's the Kicking Horse coffee. Might as well be lock down our businesses again, please. Let's have some CERB so you can buy your Kicking Horse coffee with your with your UBI. I love how you sued the opportunity to advertise your own brand. We need what did I say? I love how you sued the opportunity to advertise your own brand. We really need such entrepreneurship in this country to deal with the wokesters. Yeah, absolutely. I thought this was a great opportunity. Yes, we'll be more happy to take Alberta and Saskatchewan as new states. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I'm talking as a dual citizen American here. My American side does not want Quebec, Ontario, the Maritimes voting in U.S. elections. No, thank you whatsoever. What happens to people's mortgages? I don't see anybody discussing those variables. The variables in mortgages with the economy like the merger with which. Becoming a 51st state. Oh, they would still have mortgages. Absolutely. They would absolutely still have mortgages. It wouldn't be great because as soon as now the American market can just freely come in and buy Canadian real estate, or Canadians can then buy American real estate, and then it would kind of hurt the Canadian housing market in the sense that the prices would have to fall. So it would be a lot of people with loans that are worth way more than what their properties are worth. That is always a bad sign. And what about First Nations? That part is so glazed over. USA can handle that relationship very differently. USA would handle that situation much differently, I believe. I believe that for sure. I don't think Canada has handled that situation in a good way whatsoever. I think the United States has good and bad situations throughout this. Actually, John Stossel did a really good one on the different bans in the United States, showing the ones that were given these treaties with like welfare and all of that stuff included in it, were doing much more terribly than the ones that didn't get those deals. So don't get freebies, don't get free stuff. They're all doing quite well, whereas the ones that got the free stuff are all doing quite horribly, actually. And it was a testament to the welfare state and how it destroys a society. And it has so done with Indigenous people in Canada. And I'm going to stick to that one for sure. According to Kicking Horse Toronto, Coffee Bellum and Le Petit Pain are already joining the quiet rebellion. The Petit Pain, which is the small bread, goes really well with the small potato. Justin Trudeau. That's where that is. So it's a simple switch. And anyway, I'm not going to go too far into this one, except to explain a little bit more about the company Kicking Horse Coffee. So 2008 is when they were established. They made their coffee company in that time. RC Lamoureux with a $20 super chat saying, breaking news, Donald Trump and Bill Clinton found in collusion in the takeover of Canada. What the heck are you talking about? What? Bill Clinton. Ugh. I could never see the two of them working together. That's hilarious. Wow. But yeah, okay, breaking news. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Really appreciate that one. Let's just say Quebec separated with the natives to the north revolt and demand to stay with Ottawa or order to keep receiving the benefits. At the end of the day, really, what benefits are you going to get from unwilling parties? Like that's really what it comes down to. If Quebec bails, are they gonna pay? Are they gonna pay for it? Ask them, because I doubt they will. They don't even want pipelines going through their place, so I don't think they're gonna do that stuff. I'm not a fan of welfare states in any which way or form, and I think what's been thrust upon the Indigenous in Canada is a welfare state, and I think it's been detrimental to them completely. Now let's get back to this. I wanted you to remember the 2008 number. That was when the company was established, making those Americanos. Yeah, make Americano great again. That's our coffee. Absolutely. Over at ClydeBrewSomething.com or ClydeDoSomething.com. That's the Clyde Brew Something coffee. It's the medium roast is the making Americanos great again. But I wanted you to see this because I wanted to point this out from the article here. And while the beans are still roasted in the heart of Canada's Rocky Mountains, controlling interest of the company hasn't been in Canadian hands since 2012. So Kicking Horse isn't even a Canadian company anymore. It hasn't been after 4 years of its existence. It was only a Canadian company for 4 years. For 4 years, it's been not a Canadian company for longer than it was ever a Canadian company, ever. Kicking Horse Coffee, the one that's trying to fill you with Canadian pride. Yeah, that's right. And then this is when Rosenfeld entered into an investment partnership with a New Jersey-based Swander Peace Capital. So New Jersey company bought them out. And we have another one from Jay Frolich. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. For 5 says, yo fam, hit that like button. Let's get the word out there. Share. Yeah, you can share this actually. And And even if you here's a little trick, a tidbit. You can hit the share button, and it gives you an option to copy the link. If you just hit the share and then hit the copy button, YouTube doesn't know where you're copying it to, so it works as metrics to help out the channel as it being a share. Now then you can post that link anywhere you like. You can post it to social media anywhere, or don't, but just go down and hit the share, copy link. It's helpful. It helps out a whole ton. So getting back to this, in 2017, a deal was struck with that saw an Italian-based global coffee giant, Lavazza, obtain 80% of the ownership for $215 million, with Rosenfeld kept on as CEO and maintaining 20% of the company. So that's the original owner maintaining 20% of the company. Now, that's something that happens quite a bit. But then she stepped down and yielded duties to a former Lavazza global revenue growth director and current CEO, Cedric Malaga. So Cedric Malaga is the guy who's telling everybody to be patriotic Canadians, not any Canadian. This is the thing. This is what cracks me up the most, because this company is basically just a giant corporate globalist husk of a company that bags up coffee and ships it out to everybody. Yeah, the coffee is still manufactured in the same place, but it's not owned or operated by any of the same people, which is hilarious to me, because they're trying to be so darn patriotic. So this was one of their advertisements, telling people to wake up and kick ass. This is their thing, their slogan. Of course, they left it with blanks there, so I filled in some of the blanks. I think that one worked out pretty well. Oh, I just wanted to get that one out there. But I do want to emphasize, I would like to emphasize this, that we are very proud of the work that we've been doing, Yuji and myself. It's just two guys trying to put together this coffee thing, and of course with the new mugs that are out this weekend. It's just fresh on the press here, and there's not very many of them, so we'll see if we end up selling out. Hopefully everybody that wants one gets one, but hurry up on that one. The other mugs, there's still some of those left as well. Those are I think they're color changing mugs, those ones there. But I do want to stress how much I'm proud of the work that we've been doing here and getting this coffee out. And thank you Kicking Horse Coffee, for making this opportunity for me to allow more people to know what it is that we've been doing. We've been actually actively making this product. It's fantastic. I'm involved in the process myself. I've been down in Burnaby helping out with this and learning more about it. I mean, Yuji's been doing this for a long time, but I've always just been a coffee lover, and I'm really good with the quality control side of things, but now I'm learning about how to actually do this. So we've got some great flavors. We've got, of course, we're making Americanos great again, folks, and we've got our dark humor morning coping mechanism, and we've got some ecological decaf. We call it that because it's a Swiss water method that we do the decaf process with, no chemicals used. It's always great if you want to have lots and lots of it and you don't want to get the jitters. So I'm glad everybody is on that same page with us for this one. We've got a bunch of orders today. It's going to be really good. A lot of people getting on this, and I want to start hearing some testimony. I want to start hearing some feedback. How do you like it? How are you enjoying it? We worked very hard for this, and it was really good. Yeah, the morning coping mechanism. That's our dark roast, because you need to have that dark humor. You know what I mean? I think that's why people started tuning into this channel in the first place. It's just adding a little bit of humor to some of the situations that we're dealing with here in Canada. Marg Ruse with joining as a member. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. David Do you take your kids to Yutakas? Be cool. My dad used to take me over to our freezer. Beef get pew-pewed. Chickens too. Heads off, and I'm better off for it. No, we haven't been to Yutakas. They've Yutaka Yuji of all they've been up here many a times. We're all family now. This is the way things go. I haven't been down there because we don't spend much time in the city. It's a big thing to bring the family around, but I do want to go to Yutaka's at one point. He called me. He actually sent me a message today saying he couldn't be in the chat tonight because he wasn't feeling well. So I hope Yutaka's doing good. And we want to go. I want to go visit my piano. That's what I want to do. Mr. Roscoe Pico with a $5 super chat says refugees get $60,000 a year or so. How much do native people get? I wonder. On average, they can even get clean drinking water in their towns. That's right. They don't get that much, and refugees are getting upward in the ballpark of over $80,000 a year. And on top of that, it's tax free, right? It's tax free. Oh yeah, right there you go. JD28 saying they get $80K a year. That's 12,000 LOL. Yeah, it's tax-free. It's absolutely tax-free what they're getting because they're just getting this much. They're not paying any taxes on it. That would be ridiculous to have them pay taxes on money that's been given away anyway. But they should. We shouldn't be in the business of doing any of this stuff. And what came to light recently is how much money we're really blowing on other things that, again, we shouldn't be doing. Now, I want to get back to this Steve Bannon thing because this is really important to what we're talking about for this chat. Of course, I'm going to go on many rants and many different things to be said here. Rare 1AB with another $2 says, Clyde, I love the shameless plug. I'm a coffee nut. You know what? I don't plug my own stuff enough. There's a lot of people on YouTube that are like, buy this, buy that, blah, I'm selling these things. I don't do a lot of that. I feel weird doing that, but this is why we did the coffee thing. This is why we are going to put some shirts and stuff on the website because I know what a lot of people want that stuff, and we'll make that available. Suggestions, people, things that you would like to have, we'll work on that now that I actually have someone who's dedicated to it. Because I can't. I work a full-time job and I do this as well as be a dad to my kids. It's really it's too much to also run a store. So thank God for Yuji because he's taking care of that stuff. So fantastic. And this is why we'll be able to make some of this stuff available for you guys. But the idea with the coffee was get the coffee out there because it's a product that we actually believe in. And it's not something that I'm like, I drink the coffee every single day. You watch me drinking it in the morning every day. So this is, I'm a coffee nut. I just absolutely love it. Can we help Clyde hit 150,000 subs or not? Your choice. What? You guys can help if you want. That would be appreciated. That would be really nice. Where are we right now? Oh, we just did. Look at that. It just went over. It just clocked over. Look at that. 150,000 subscribers on the channel. It just happened. That's amazing. Cool. Thanks, guys. I think that's really awesome. Woot woot. That let's get some wobbly pop on that one. Awesome. Woo. Cheers, everybody. That is really cool. I'm really happy about that. That is something worth talking about. That's fantastic. Big thanks to everybody. Clyde, you should get the Vermont Flannel co-partner with Vermont Flannel to co-partner with me. Sure, I'll take that. I get so many offers for ads on the show. I get so many, and I don't know which ones are scams and which ones are legit or whatever, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't feel like stopping what I'm talking about to tell you about Raid Shadow Legends and some mobile phone video game. I know it'll bring revenue into the channel. I know it can do all of that stuff, but I'm just it just feels gross. I mean, maybe if there was some like good sponsors or something like that, something that could be cool. But this is why we decided to bring you guys coffee. You guys can, take the choice if you want to get some or not. It's up to you. Javelin Blue with the $5 super chat. Free money. Free money. Thank you. Thank you for the free money. I appreciate that. That's awesome. But IDT refreshing Clyde. I don't know what that meant really, but that's what it is. F Carney new flag shirts. yeah, okay, well, I'll talk to Yuji about getting some of these products out there. Maybe we'll come up with some fun designs or something like that. Seek out collaborators with products you would use. Yeah, that could be a thing. It's just I get so into, you guys know because you watch the show. I get really into the stories that I'm talking about, and it's hard to like peel me away from it to like then talk about something else before. And I like to keep my videos short. The stuff is really, really hard. You should partner with Black Rifle Coffee. Nah, we do our coffee. That's our thing. Nothing against Black Rifle Coffee. I haven't had any before, but I really like the coffee that we make. It's delicious. It really is. Coffee can make you wiggly, and these will make you wobbly. Yeah, that's right. There we go. Ice baby. I just love these chats. These are fun. This is why I do the Friday show, because we'll get off topic and we'll talk about other things. Yeah, just all kinds of other different things. Carney belongs at the carnival shirts. Yeah, that's funny. I'm in BC. I'm not in BC. I'm in Ontario. So that's irrelevant. What? I need to ship coffee from BC to me. So we're no longer using Canada Post. We found another shipper, and it's flat rate shipping. So that's the other bonus of it. If you get the coffee, but then you also order a product with it, then it's one shipping. It's not like, because we're not doing drop shipping where we don't handle the products. We actually handle the products. Some people do drop shipping, so every item gets a different shipping thing. No, it's like if you order a mug and coffee and a shirt, it's all going to come in one package. Boom, come out to you. Yuji and I were talking about decals and stickers. What do you guys call it? Do you call it a decal or a decal? I've heard it both ways. Maybe it's the American in me that says decal, but Tim Pool won't battle me with lightsabers. Okay. Well, don't ask me. I'm not going to. Selling coffee is like selling water. It's hard to do. Yeah, we've learned. But no, it's just a thing. Decal. Yeah, so I think that's a Canadian thing. I say decal. That's the way I say it. The second way, decal. Yeah, okay. Lovebirds have my very own $49 Clyde mug. LOL. Thankfully, he doesn't. Oh, I skipped. It skipped. Sorry, I missed that one. VIP pools and spas with a $50 super chat. How generous! Holy cow! Thank you. Really appreciate that. Rob here. I don't drink coffee. Sorry. I hear you about sponsors. I don't trust most of them sending emails. That's it. That's another thing. They want to get your data, and I understand for a legitimate sponsor to want to have some data from you, but they're asking a lot for just getting into the negotiation side of things, and yeah, I don't think you guys are into Raid Shadow Legends. To be honest, no, there are good sponsors out there. Eventually, I keep saying this eventually, but until I have somebody maybe that could spend time and talk with sponsors, I don't want to spend time doing that. I rather spend time doing what I do. So let's we'll see how that goes moving forward. Heather Marie for 279 says left fringe for Clyde's. Oh, okay. Thanks. I appreciate that. That's cool. Fries mashed or baked. Fries mashed or baked. Fries are fried. Fries are fried. You put them in the fryer. Iron Pelvis with a 5 says, what do you think the chances and concerns are for Red Seal 310s getting a work visa in the Detroit area, thinking of joining the brain drain? So this is a big question that I've gotten quite a bit lately. Clyde, do a video on immigrating to the United States. What is the process? For a question like that, actually, Marty up north would be a better candidate because he's done that before. I'm an American citizen. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do any of that. Now, I am going through the immigration process right now with the United States government, but that's for my wife. Now, it's under a completely different set of circumstances. So if you are an American citizen, or say your spouse is an American citizen, and you wanna emigrate out of Canada and move to the United States, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to go to the USCIS website and download the PDF for what's called the I-130 petition, and then there's also a subsequent I-130A form for your spouse. Now, what you're doing in the I-130 petition as an American citizen is you're vouching that you have a relationship with this person, and you're vouching for them taking full responsibility. And that's what it is. Great to see you. Looking forward to the live stream tonight. Well, this is the live stream right now. We're doing it right now. I'm glad you're enjoying it. The best sponsor ads come from the Y-Files. I don't know about them. But anyway, to finish this one off, the I-130 petition, you have to submit that and then wait. And then just wait. With the I-130 petition, you have to give a whole bunch of stuff. There, if you file online, it's really convenient because they lay it all out for you. Before you can complete it, it has like a whole checklist that you have to go through. So yeah, you fill out the paperwork, which means you have to know a lot of your own history, where you lived over the past decade, all the different addresses if you moved at all, you have to have affidavits from people about you and your spouse, and a whole lot of subsequent paperwork that would prove that stuff. And then that's how my wife is applying for her green card, permanent residence in the United States. My kids, they go through a naturalization process. I just enter the United States with them, and then they're considered citizens. So it's totally different. Rare One AB, Rare One Alberta with a $2 says, going to Texas, what will be your everyday carry? I still haven't decided on that. There's a few choices. It might depend on the time of year and clothing and all of that stuff. I'm really partial to the Smith & Wesson MMP 9 2.0, the 2.0 generation series of it. Would that be cumbersome? I'd have to see if that's a cumbersome thing. It looks like they have Smith & Wesson just came out with a new, I think it's called the Shield. I'd like to try it out. It's in 38 special, I believe. It doesn't really pack that much of a punch, and yeah, we'll see. I'd like to go give it a wing, but definitely when you are wearing like summer clothes, you don't want to be printing that you got stuff on you, that kind of thing. Oh man, I could talk about guns all night. I don't want to get into that. Heather Marie with a $6.99 super chat says, love the far off ripoff Wait, hold on. How about a sex toy show in Hamburg, Germany, called "Who's Whatever is this?" Is that actually the? Because I heard about that, about the Canadian government actually paying for that. Is that what you're referring to? Because we paid for that. We paid for that in Germany, for them to have a show with obscene toys. That's something. Something. Looking forward to seeing you in Ottawa. Thank you, Homestead. I look forward to seeing Ottawa. I've never been to Ottawa proper. It'll be a lot of fun. Is Canada up for auction? The highest bidders, the WEF-backed Liberals or American interests? Who truly owns the future? Well, let's get into this because I wanted to address this. So this is, again, Steve Bannon. He was talking about the Canadian economy and basically like that we've had free access to it for a very long time. Now, do we want to continue to have free access? If we want to continue to have free access, they need to be able to have free access to us. We have been giving them a raw deal. And maybe the numbers that Trump has put out are not absolutely all that true. Heather Marie with 279, we paid for that. Yes, we did. Yes, we absolutely did. That's sickening. Well, I mean, whatever. If people want to do that of their own free will, that's fine. Pay for it yourself. And in Germany, like, why aren't the Germans paying for that? Why aren't German just private citizens paying for that? Unreal. So yeah, we've had this access to the United States market for a very long time for free, and we've put restrictions on the U.S. companies coming into our country. There's no American banks. You don't see Chase and Bank of America and all this other stuff here. No, you don't see that at all. Will Kowalchuk, were they gifting 5 memberships to the channel? Thank you. Thank you so much. Unreal. That's thank you. That's very generous. Thank you. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Where was I? Yes, the market. So, wife's a dual citizen. Oh, your wife's a dual citizen. That's great. That's great. So explain the I-130 petition thing. You can go through that process, and that's how it works. But it's taking forever right now. I guess there's a big backlog. It started at a 5-month wait, and now then it bumped up to a 13-month wait. Now we're down to 12 months. Like, it's crazy. I don't know if there's a way that we can expedite it. I'm gonna start looking into it though, because I can't wait that long with our situation the way it is. Anyway, let's get into this. So the Golden Gate we've been allowed to go through. Well, guess what? Times change and the deals changed, and we need to realize that this is coming, and it's going to be, things are going to be different from now on.
Economics of North America combined, and the geostrategic interest of North America combined, and particularly hemispheric defense, all the way from Argentina and Brazil under Bolsonaro, all the way up to the Canadian Arctic, is what the first half of the 21st century is going to be about. Trump is laying this out in a very sophisticated way, and avant-garde thinkers strategically and economically are coming and say, this guy's onto something. Listen.
Can't make it go faster, went through the process. Now, there may be ways of making that happen. I know if it came to, like, I had a job and I had to go down there, because, corporate legal for immigration works a little different than just domestic legal for immigration. I've heard there's strings that can be pulled for job situations, that kind of thing. So I don't know. You may be absolutely right, but I'm gonna see what I can do.
This is the golden market, right? You're going to pay a toll to get access to the United States. You're either going to have to shift your manufacturing here, or you're going to pay a premium. And this is not a 25% toll tariff punitive on an avocado coming from Mexico, or from a part made in Ontario that comes into Detroit under the hood into an engine. This is something much deeper, right? It's much deeper, that he's going to look at some sort of tariff, trade, and duties to have external revenue in the United States. Now,
or just trade agreements, like he was alluding to, the idea that if you want to sell your stuff in the U.S. market, you're going to have to shift a percentage of your manufacturing into the U.S. That's the thing. Clyde, are your kids American citizens? If no, talk to me. I have important information for you. Shara, where can I get in touch with you? Can you send me a DM on Twitter, or can you send me something there? I have spoken with U.S. immigration about it, but if you have more information, that's always welcome. I'd appreciate that. Let me know in the comments here. But yeah, shifting. This is you have to see this as it has to be fair for both sides. And what Canada's had for the longest time is not necessarily fair at all. So Canada just happens to be here. It's just geographically we're here, and America became the world's largest superpower, and that has been tremendously beneficial to Canada. Sure, X, I'll send you a message. What is your handle on X? Is it the same, or is it a different handle, Shara? Let me know. So where was I going with that? It has to be of equal benefit. Now, historically, oh, you talk us in the chat. You didn't go to bed. Nice. Yeah, we did hit 150K. That's really cool. That's really cool. So historically, Canada has not been so ultra beneficial to the United States. Maybe in some circumstances where they needed more labor capacity, like for example, it's different, but can't recall right now. Well, you'll have to let me know, because I get tons of DM requests. Or just in your DM request, make sure you just say, this is Shara from your YouTube chat. That would be really good, and I'll check it later. So the U.S. has been beneficial to us in the sense that they're bringing manufacturing to Canada. They're bringing tons of products at a cheap cost to Canada. And what is historically been our gratitude for that? Tariffs on them. We've put tariffs on a myriad of American products, so that we could foster the industries that we have in Canada, but then also ask the United States to provide us with jobs and things like that. I mean, list in the chat if anybody knows. How about name one big Canadian automotive manufacturer that started in Canada and then became a big name in the United States, and gave offshoot manufacturing in America. You'd have a really hard time finding that. That's what they've done for us, though. So our automotive industry is largely thanks to the fact that the big auto manufacturing hub came out of places like Detroit, Toledo, Ohio, like Cleveland, Ohio, and all these places. And that was great, and they did their best to manufacture and compete with the labor that they had, but they had shortages of labor. Remember this, like this is how the unions even got going in the first place, is because they had shortages of labor. In fact, it was really competitive between factories to keep your employees. It was really difficult to keep their employees. Henry Ford famously, he would train, because you would train somebody to do a job, and then another company would scoop up that employee and pay him more, and that was the thing. So Henry Ford famously paid his people very well, because he didn't want to lose his workers, and this was the thing. So what ended up happening was there was a bleed off into Canada, where they had to come over and shift some of their manufacturing into Canada, not because they wanted to be in Canada, not because any of these other things, but Ford paid well enough to buy his cars. That was his principle. Yeah, he had this idea: if I sold a car and only made $1 profit, but I sold 1 million cars, I'm a millionaire. That's how he looked at it. So and it all came down to marginal utility. Ford was absolutely a titan of the industry at the time, not for inventing the car, but for inventing the production line. And that revolutionized everything. Now that came out of the United States, and that largely benefited Canada. Where have we capitulated in this action? Like, yeah, there's a lot of Canadians who grew up, raised here, went through the educational system here, made a company, and then were punished by our government by limiting their access to markets and doing all kinds of stuff, and taxing them too much. So they left Canada, and then they became big companies. I mean, you can look at one that we all know. His name was Elon Musk. He started in Canada, and the opportunity was in America, so he left. This is the story that we have. But historically, Canada has not been so reciprocal on the benefits of what Canada has gotten from the United States. And then, then the 1970s come, and then the first Trudeau comes along, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, and he convinces the Canadian populace that somehow we're better than Americans. And that really is just awful. It's an insidious way of doing things, and it's what's led to a lot of the opinion of that Americans hold of Canadians now. Now, Canada better hope that Americans' opinions shift from this, because now is not a time for Americans to consider Canadians to be, jerks. It is not the time for us, because, if they're in the position to really harm us economically and they think that we're jerks, they just might go ahead and do that. But if they think that we're nice people and they think that we're great neighbors, they wouldn't want to do that. So now is the time to really try to fix our relationship with the United States big time. And it is very crucial. It's very important for us to do that. And we're brothers. We're family on this continent. We are. But let's remember that our brother is the bigger brother and the much more productive brother. And we benefit amazingly from that. We really do, and we really need to start showing appreciation for that, or else things are not going to go so well, as Bannon starts to articulate that here.
If you're part of that market, which is what I think he's talking about in making you a state, or agreeing with you.
Grovel to no one. No, I'm not saying groveling. That's not what I'm saying. You're not groveling by saying that you appreciate something. It's completely different. Will Kowalchuk for 5 says, Clyde, your thoughts on how we can get the libs out and Carney? I don't know. It's not what we're doing is not working. That's the truth. That's the truth. But I think America does not want Carney, and I think this is where this is going, because America wants control of Canada. Let's just be blunt about it. They want control of Canada, not because they want to control Canada, not because they want to take things from us. They just want to have their influence in Canada as opposed to Chinese influence or Russian influence or some other foreign influence like the World Economic Forum, which we all know is very anti-American. So they want to have their influence in Canada. And if they can't have their influence in Canada, then it's really bad news for us. You have to understand this. It's really bad news if America feels like they can't get their influence in the country. America does not want us to turn into a Chinese dictatorship. Yeah, they don't. Or a World Economic Forum dictatorship, because that's what it'll be under Carney. So let's continue with this.
The state, then you're inside the golden door. The compelling logic of the 21st century geostrategically and
thirsty
geoeconomically
tonight.
is going to make this at least something that Canadian people have to weigh and measure and consider. Look, for a couple of 100 years, you've been part of what was once the greatest empire on earth. You're still one of the Dominion countries. It's just times change, things change, geostrategically it changes, and now you're going to have a rethink. It has nothing to do with the obsession of our revolutionary generation and our framers to militarily invade Canada 3 times. 3 failures, I might add. 0 for 3.
Yeah, and this is a really good point, because this is where I think Canada's pride comes in this situation, because we do have a history. We do have a history of the United States trying and failing to come in and militarily take Canada. It's not about this. We can still be neighbors. We can still be separate entities and all of that stuff. But America wants to ensure that Canada is not a risk to them in a national security sense. Absolutely. And to be a good partner where we can have a good relationship with each other, and it's on equal terms. Now, the old deal, we're never going back to that. We're not ever going back to the old deal where we can put tariffs on them and they don't have tariffs on us, where we can, try to do trade protectionism and have terrible laws in our country that allow bad people in that can just cross our porous border. Those days are done. They're done. And you just got to get used to the fact that we're never going back to that.
Has nothing to do with that. But I think, and look, people here love Canadians. They just do. So it's going to be something and when you guys think through the hard decisions that have to be made, particularly the Arctic, particularly hemispheric defense, particularly geoeconomically, what this means, internal logic is going to drive you that somehow we have to figure out how to partner with the United States and what form that takes. That's what President Trump's genius is. Canada's
that's where Donald Trump's genius is what does it end up looking like? What does it end up looking like? Because what does it look like now? Naya Fannerstill put this one out. I'm so glad to see that Naya's back on X, because Naya previously left, threw in the towel, said I'm done with this. I'm out. Had a job and didn't. I don't know the reasons exactly. I know she put out a post about it, but then came back. Clyde, stop making me scared. You can't play in the 70s and scare me. What I'm saying shouldn't scare anybody, because if we do things right, we should have a better situation out of the whole deal. I'm talking the populace, like the Canadian citizens. The elites in Canada, yeah, they're running scared because they're about to lose everything that they got. But the whole Laurentian elite, Canada doesn't have, or so the new American century, and I mean I'm talking American century as in North American and the South Americas are tied into all of this, don't have the Laurentian elites in the purview. Just that's a legacy thing. RM with a $5 super chat says, isn't it time for Canadians to ask what moral or practical justification exists for Confederation to continue? Does Confederation serve any purpose? Now, this is what we're going to get into with this whole separation, perhaps balkanization of Canada, perhaps annexation of particular regions of Canada. What does this look like? There's a bunch of different ways it could go. Now, I'm going to briefly go over this. This is Naya's thing where she says Canada are the worst neighbors. We used to have a clean yard, but we let our weeds grow and keep and it's keeping on it's creeping into our neighbor's lawn, USA. They asked us to cut the weeds back, but we haven't done much about it. For 10 years, it's only gotten worse. Heather Marie for $6.99. Number 6, how about Jordan Peterson referring to the World Economic Forum? They are drunk on the fumes of their own self-righteous delusions. They are. It's the Malthusian thought. Malthus was a he was a mathematician who had this really crappy outlook on the world and life and human beings, where he thought that the world was gonna be overpopulated by a certain date, and the overpopulation, he gave like I can't remember what his number was, but he said everyone's gonna die of starvation and all this stuff, and he was wrong, and they were all wrong. They were wrong about all their stuff, but they're still high on their delusions of them being able to run the world. And the self-righteous delusion in this is their concept of stakeholder capitalism. It's Marxism with robots. It's no different. It's central authority trying to call all the shots and think that that's gonna really do anything. It's insane. Those are my thoughts. I think Jordan Peterson's right on about it, and I mean, he would know. He studied totalitarian regimes for his entire career. That's been his focus. He knows a thing or two about it. Lazzy with a 279 super chat, very first super chat, and then right after another 279 super chat. Were you trying to type something in there? Just type it in the chat. I'll read it out for you. Hopefully I can catch that. But yeah, that's the thing. They said we'd be out of copper by 2000, and we need to get population down to 2 billion max. I know. They're so wrong. They're so wrong about all this. Innovation has really done away with all of their theories. Will Kowalchuk gifted 5 memberships to the channel. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Adding more to the pile of memberships that you've gotten already tonight. Thank you so much. So, and make sure you give a big thank you to, if you got one of those memberships, give Will a big thank you. Will is awesome. Absolutely. Audio Jack's on point with that one. Where was I? So yeah, she did this great thing pointing out that Canada are really bad neighbors. We're terrible neighbors. And what's worse is we're degenerates, and we're poking fun at the other side. Like we're saying to the Americans, you guys are horrible. You're the worst. But like our data, our figures just don't match. They don't match. You know, our productivity per capita is much lower than theirs. This is a thing, and this isn't for 1 second to blame Canadians. This isn't for 1 second, and I really want to emphasize this. I really do. I want to emphasize this because I think this point needs to be clarified, because I think a lot of people took offense to some things that Marty and I have said recently, and I get why people take offense to stuff like this, but it really is not a jab at Canadians for being lazy. It's not. Does complicated mean lazy? No. What it is, and I think it's best described in this clip. So I put this clip out today, and this was from that same chat that Marty and I had. This is from just the other day, and I wanted to. I think this makes an absolute ton of sense, and I'll get more into it. I think some good eureka moments came out of this, though. Yeah. And so there was one commenter that was talking about how, you know, in their province, you have all these people that they're, you know, even though he's going out and he's doing a lot of work, they're just sitting on the dole. So it doesn't really create much of an incentive for him to go out and work so hard. And it was like, wow, you're explaining what Ayn Rand explained years ago, what F.A. Hayek explained in The Road to Serfdom. This whole idea that if you coddle people and you take care of them and you give them entitlements, those entitlements don't just ruin those people's lives. They ruin the morale of the entire society. All the people around you, their morale is done. They say, why should I bother working? And it just goes, it's a snowball effect. It is a snowball effect. It is this snowball effect. And this is the thing. So, and this is why I say it's not a plight on Canadians. It's a plight on our government. It's a plight on the situation that we're thrust into, right? And Milton Friedman wrote a lot about this actually as well. Milton Friedman wrote a ton disagreeing with the idea of a welfare state. He said that if you bring in a welfare state, it's going to cause more poverty. It's just like, let's move to Galt. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, Galt's Gulch, if you guys read the book, Galt's Gulch right now is the United States. That's the United States. It's Galt's Gulch. Because that's where, yeah, it's a Clydeception going on here. A Clyde within a Clyde within a, yeah. But the Galt's Gulch is America. Now, if you don't know the premise of the book, Ayn Rand, let me give you a short, the book, Ayn Rand's book, Atlas Shrugged. The book is titled Atlas Shrugged because the idea behind that is Atlas, if you know, was I believe it was Greek god. Was it the Greek or well, let's just go with that. The Greek god that held the world on his shoulders. He held the world, and that's how the world came to be, or is still suspended. That's the whole thing. Now, the analogy there is the more productive people in society are Atlas. The people who are the builders, the people that wake up at 4 a.m. and go to work, the people who build companies, the people who build everything, whether you're building companies or you're a member of an organization and you're the hard working people that move things forward, the productive members of society. Those people are Atlas. That's what holds society up. Now, the name of the book, Atlas Shrugged, what if it were that Atlas were to just shrug? The world would fall. And this is the story of Atlas Shrugged. It's such a fascinating tale. Will Kowalchuk for $5 says, love and Northern perspective, and you, Clyde, the truth needs to come out. Keep up the good work. You and all in chat rock. Love you all. That's awesome. What a great message. Thank you so much. That's really cool. Thank you. It is a really good thing. That's why UBI freaks. This is what scares me about the UBI freaks. Yeah, it does. It scares me because here's the thing. It doesn't just damage the people who go on welfare. It doesn't. It damages all of society. It damages the entire society. Why is it that the productive members of society in Canada are less productive than the members of society in America? Just as a whole. Why is it that our GDP or our productivity per capita is lower than the United States of America? It's because of the socialism that we've instilled in our country. It's crazy. Watching Ayn Rand's interviews were very insightful too. Absolutely. In fact, so I had Dr. Walter Block on the show, and he always makes sure that I say that Doctor, not Dr. Walter Block. He hates the formalities. He says, "Call me Walter," or I absolutely won't come on your show if you refuse that. It's a non-starter. So Walter, fantastic. I've been such a fan of his. He's a professor of economics of the Austrian school variety, so a student of Mises and Murray Rothbard. But before he was that, he had the fortunate chance of not only being born at the right time for this to happen, but also being born in the right place, New York City. And he had a chance to meet up with Ayn Rand. He went to tell her, because he was some young idealist. He called himself a pinko commie because he believed in this socialism stuff as a young kid. And he went to Ayn Rand, and they had this meeting. Peikoff was there and all these other people. And Ayn Rand was at the head of the table, and he was able to go and actually get her ear for a moment. And he said, I want to debate you and talk about the the wonders of socialism and how great it is. And she actually listened to him and said, okay, I'll debate you, but you have to read this book first. And the book was Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt. And he went home and he read that book, and he was Irandian overnight. He was a free market economist, a capitalist, and totally against the socialist system. And it was that convincing. So where was I going with this? Let's get to the super chat first. Heather Marie for $6.99. Per capita, we buy lessers from the US than they buy from us. Well, yeah, of course, because we're much smaller. That's absolutely true. But I guess, well, per capita, we buy less. We buy less than they buy from us. It's true. It's true. And that a lot of that has to do with our trade barriers. So like we would buy milk from them. We would totally buy milk from them. Our markets would be full of American milk and cheese and all kinds of dairy products, but we have tariffs on those things. 250% tariffs on those products. It's absolutely ridiculous. Totally off topic. Want to know what you think. Sorry, what you are. Want to know that you are appreciated. Sorry, my dyslexia is really kicking in today. Reading it down here. Totally off topic. Want you to know that you are appreciated. You're so positive and always feel uplifting after watching your channel. Thanks for keeping us all informed and smiling. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's such an awesome compliment. Thank you. Atlas cannot only shrug, he can be overloaded and fall. So yeah, so back to the premise of Atlas Shrugged. The story follows two tycoons in the United States. One is a railroad tycoon and the other one makes steel. So making the steel, and they fall in love. There's a woman who runs the trains, and it's the man who runs the steel industry. And that sounds kind of dull and all that. But what happens is all of these other industry leaders start disappearing suddenly. They blow up their businesses. They just destroy everything of theirs. They leave nothing behind. So like all of the capital that they put together, they just destroy it and leave a note and say, and it says, "So long, suckers. I'm off to bigger and better things. Take the ruins. It's all yours." And I don't want to ruin the book. I really would encourage people to go read it. But the question through the first half of the book is the tagline at the end of all of these people who do leave. They say, "Who is John Galt?" And that's the big question. Who is John Galt? And why did these people leave, and what did they leave for? So, and then obviously you have these like two conflicting stories. You have these tycoons that are leaving, and why are they leaving? But then you also have society collapsing while the two main characters are still there, and it's such a fantastic book. But that's the premise around it. But so getting back to the Canadian aspect of this, the Canadian story here is what was being said by that commenter was that, you know, it's not my fault that I live in an area where, you know, all these other people are just, you know, soaking off the system. Why should I have to be the one to pull all the weight for everybody around here? I'm paying all the taxes, and everybody else is just sitting around having wobbly pops and enjoying all their time, right? My accent started going Nova Scotia or something there. That's the sentiment. Absolutely. But what that is that's the moral decay. That's the moral decay that comes with the welfare state. When people the people that get locked into this, the people who end up on the dole, and they, you have a serious situation, right? And again, Milton Friedman wrote about this extensively, spoke about this extensively, where people are put into a situation where they have they're down and out, so they go to the social safety net. I'm down and out. I need to get this thing. Where previously they would have went to their neighbors, or they would have went to the church, or they would have went to something else. Lol, Clyde, wobbly pop accent. Yeah, that's it. So they would go to these institutions. Now the institutions would help them out, but the institutions were frugal. So the institution, like the church or your community, whatever, they would help you get back up onto your feet, but then they would encourage you to get back at her. And you would have no choice. They would cut you off, and that's it. But when the government comes in and the social safety net, it's more of a situation that will trap you in. Exactly, Clyde. Cut everything. Cut the deficit and the interest we pay, so we can cut taxes drastically. Sounds like CERB to me. UBI is same as welfare. It is. But that would be it on steroids. That would be absolutely destroy any incentive to work, period. It's communism. Clyde, we all have an accent. we have all accent. Yeah, we do. DEI didn't earn it. There you go. So the idea here is, people are in a situation. Let's give all charity to why people would initially get onto it. So you get onto it. So say you're a single mom, or your family is just down and out, and you need to get on the dole. Now you get on the dole, and now you have all this extra time. You have all this extra time to do other things. So you're able to stay home with the kids. You're able to take care of other things that are not, you wouldn't say are economized, but technically we'll get into why they are economized. But you would say I'm not earning money or whatever. I get all this extra free time. Well, time is money, right? So this is how people end up economizing that, because they're getting a check from the government, and the government tells you, here's how much you get, and it's usually subsistence. It's not good living. Believe me, it's not good living. But the alternative would be to get some entry-level job somewhere that pays marginally more, but now you have no free time. You have no time for your kids. You have no time for all this other stuff. So at that point, you would economize this in your head and say, it's not worth the extra amount of money to go to work if I could just stay home and then take care of my kids and get a paycheck. And yeah, it'll be subsistent living, but at least I get my family. No job is worth neglecting family, right? So it's a rational way of thinking. It's not an irrational thought for people to think that. But it is what traps people in. It's what traps people in the system, because you're not going to get the better job if you're not taking the crappy job first. You're not getting the experience. You're not getting the time in the position. You're not getting the opportunity to prove yourself to future employers that you're going to stick it out and you're going to be able to do this. Clyde, massive us want to be. I'm not sure how to read that. We need more farmers. We do. Absolutely. Lazzy. Holy cow. That is unbelievably generous. Thank you so much with a $139.99 super chat. Pierre did this first. Justin Trudeau, worst but daddy's boy. That's right. A lot of this was created by Pierre Elliott Trudeau. This is the legacy, and we're all going to live with this. Lazzy, thank you so much. That is incredible. Incredibly generous. Thank you. So And actually, your timing is perfect. The timing is perfect on that tweet, because Pierre was the one who put this in. We're talking about the 1970s. We're talking about when Milton Friedman was arguing against this. So, you know, Pierre Elliott Trudeau was one of those pinko commies that, you know, the United States was really worried about at the time, but those policies were coming in particular states. Jonathan Hodges with a $6.99 super chat says, Quebec is taking advantage of the rest of Canada. If that doesn't change, Alberta will leave. Albertans feel like Atlas financially. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And let's get into that. Okay, so I won't go too much with the long-winded explanation. You guys seem like you're getting this completely. The gist of all of this, and by the way, if it is confusing for you and you do need some more work, needs a bit more information on this for this to really meld or make sense for you, I recommend watching. There's a YouTube channel called Liberty Hound, and there's so many clips on that channel of Milton Friedman talking about this, of Thomas Sowell talking about this, other economists talking specifically about this stuff. So go check that out, Liberty Hound. The channel's been up for a very, very long time, talking about this stuff. Ragman, Jordan Peterson, made a video on this, on exactly this. It's going to be a nasty wake-up call for Canada if they push Alberta over the edge and straight into the United States. You're not kidding. You're not kidding. But this is the danger we're running into right now, because we have these petulant children that we call politicians in our country, and they really use these tactics. And I just, at some point, something's got to break. Something really has to break. Clyde, I'd love to email with you about the disability factor of welfare. I'd like to see it federal and separate from welfare. Now, I would agree with you. So, like, when it comes to the social safety net, most people's argument when you argue against it is, well, what will we do for the disabled and people who just didn't get a good lot in life? Great question. Is that what the welfare system is helping right now? Is that who's benefiting from the welfare system? No, not at all. Not at all. The welfare system is absolutely just degrading normal people's lives and making them helpless. So obviously that is a bad situation. But yeah, of course, this is where people feel altruism. The real true altruism is the want to actually take care of people who just got a bad lot in life, and you just want to make the best for them. That's noble. But the welfare system isn't how we make it work. There are other systems, and there are private institutions that we can help fund if our taxes weren't, if all our money wasn't taken from us in taxes. This is a real thing. Dustin Bones with a $20 super chat. No comment on that, but thank you so much. Very generous. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Heather Marie with another $6.99 says, if Quebec wants to leave Canada, we should give them that option. They can leave with the same parcel of land they joined with. Yeah, I mean, the negotiations would absolutely have to be there. I say don't give them an option. Make it a referendum of Canada if they want to keep Quebec, or just make it one of those things. Like I really think Quebec needs to be put on a hotspot. Just and I'm not doing this because I hate Quebec or anything. I hope Quebec does great. I think they would do fantastic on their own. I really do. They would be just fine, but they would be better neighbors than they are partners. Absolutely, because I'm gonna get into a clip and you're gonna see why they're not good partners. Randy Hall for 5 says Chinese interference in the Liberal Party leadership race being reported. Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised? Because that's yeah. That's what it's been about. So let's get into this this tweet here. So I'm quote tweeting Kirk Lubermoff on this one. Bloc Québécois has shifted their focus from Quebec separation to Wexit Alberta separation. Yves Francois Blanchette says Quebec is opposed to Western energy going through their territory. Will Kowalchuk with 5 says, yes, we're at the point we need an election now before it is too late. Before it is too late. Because that's what it will be. I'm sorry, but like if the Liberals get their way, it will be too late. Let's get into this. Bloc Québécois Blanchette is fiercely opposed against any kind of transport of hydrocarbons from Western Canada. He says it doesn't serve Quebec, and he doesnn't think it doesn't serve. It's all about them. Well, oh boy.
Fiercely opposed to any type of transport on Quebec territory of hydrocarbons from Western Canada to any market whatsoever. It does not serve Quebec. It does not serve the environment. It does not serve the planet. See, it's a mirage that we are always being told. The LNG zombie that was never really alive, that we reanimate as a kind of slogan. The pro-hydrocarbon speech that even Mr. Carney is starting to hold as if there were a future in Western Canadian hydrocarbons. The sacrifice of interests in green energies that make Quebec rich. Fiercely
unbelievable. Green energies that make Quebec rich. No, there's one energy that makes Quebec rich, and it's Alberta energy. Lazzy with a 279 super chat. Thank you, Lazzy. No message there, but you can leave a message in there. I'll read it out for you if you'd like. Heather Marie with a 13.99 super chat saying, Quebec lose equalization payments if they'll lose equalization payments if they refuse the pipeline, or question mark. Will they lose that? Because of them, we're beholden to the US. They pay less carbon tax. We subsidize their dairy industry. Yeah, all of these deals have to go. All of these deals have to go. If Quebec doesn't want a pipeline on their territory, that's fine. That's fine. The pipeline can go right into America, and Quebec can deal with that. Or they can go through the northern passageway and then go west with the energy as well. It is within the right of Quebec to do this, right? It is within the right of Quebec to do this, but it is not just if they're getting payments from Alberta. Now, what's happening is they're pushing further and further against Alberta, and they're really pushing the limit of what Alberta is willing to put up with, especially in this moment in time. Especially in this moment in time when Donald Trump is, talking about taking over Canada, which I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. But, and I reached out to everybody. I put out a poll here. So I put this one out on X. So I put this poll out twice. And it says, what is your view of President Trump's 51st state rhetoric? Do you think he actually wants Canada to be part of the United States? Perhaps just Alberta, or none of it? Is it just a negotiation tactic? And these were the results. More people think it's a bluff, but if you tally those two, sorry, I'm trying to point in the right direction. There we go. If you tally the two, it looks like more people think that he wants Canada in some sort of capacity. So maybe I didn't phrase the question quite right. Candy Mitch with a $13.99 super chat says, forms of help like ODSP, it wasn't until within the last 10 years or 10 more years where you could actually get off it, as any money you made, they took half. Now it's little more doable. Okay, I understand what you mean. It's a little more doable because they can subsidize even when you're working. So this was a solution that Milton Friedman actually came with. He called it the reverse income tax, and it was basically like a scheme where as you're coming off of the welfare state, as you earn more money, they would deduct some, but not all, of your benefits until you could get off your feet. I think that is a good strategy. It's a good way of getting the people who are currently on it off of it. But I think we need to have like a moratorium on entitlements. I think in order to get off of entitlements and not just cut people off awfully, what you need to do is a scheme like that, but with timelines and deadlines. You have to be at this point by this date. You have to get to this point. You need to be on your own. And also at the same time, there needs to be no new admittances. Sorry. I know, you know what? I don't want to sound insensitive, but at the same time, it's incredible. Lassie with another 279. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I don't want to sound insensitive to people who are actually in awful situations too, but there is so much that can just be cut off immediately. If you look at any ski town in Canada, look at the ski towns, and you'll see a common practice of people who they'll work through the summer, get enough hours, and then get laid off by their employer, right? As soon as the ski season starts, they get laid off, they get themselves a ski pass, and then they get paid all winter to be a ski bum. It is very common. I lived in Whistler. I've seen it a lot. I know how much it happens. That stuff could immediately be cut off. A lot of that stuff could immediately be cut off. If you need to use and go back, stop calling it unemployment, stop calling it employment insurance, and go right back to it's unemployment. Unemployment insurance. It is insurance. You're buying insurance. And you should be able to opt out, in my opinion, in my estimate. If you don't think you'll ever be unemployed, or say you're an entrepreneur, you should be able to opt out of these schemes. Absolutely. But anyway, so getting back to this, the bluff. Do you think it's a bluff? I put it on YouTube. That is not the right clip. There it is, and it needs to be reloaded. There we go. What is your view on President Trump's 51st state rhetoric? Do you think it was actually, or that he actually wants Canada to be a part of the United States, perhaps Alberta, or none of it? And on YouTube, the YouTube audience thinks, a majority think it's a bluff. It is a bluff. Over 50%, 58% think that it's a bluff. He doesn't actually want Canada. Now, there is a serious, Alberta wants Quebec. Alberta wants Quebec out of the Confederacy. That's for sure. But yeah, we're in a situation where, you know, guys like this are really poking the bear. Really poking the bear. And then you have, here's Francois Legault talking about pipelines.
Mr. Legault, how come you don't agree with Premier Smith's idea to build new oil and gas pipeline to diversify our export markets, so we are not only trading with America, given Trump's tariff threat? So she said that it would make Canada stronger. Do you believe that too?
I just answered this question. It's the same thing. We talk about EnergyS or GNL. I think that we need to have social acceptability. And if Daniel Smith or whoever table projects, will look at them, but we need to have social acceptability.
We need to have social acceptabilities. What does that mean? It means the Quebec people have to want it. You know what social acceptability is just unacceptable is the fact that Alberta pays a tremendous amount of transfer payments to these other provinces, especially Quebec, Ontario, some of the maritime provinces. This is, and I like, okay, so I'm not in Alberta. I'm not paying it out. It's not my government that's paying it out. I'm not a beneficiary of it because I'm in British Columbia, but I'm not paying it out. But I'm seeing this go down, and I'm looking at it like this can't continue. Not in the modern world, not in the modern times that we're in. This is going to end Canada as we know it, especially given where the United States is headed, moving forward. The New Age Creator. Am I reading that right? New Age Creator with a $2 super chat. Thank you. Taxes will go up, but spending will go down. Debt. Yeah. We have a lot of debt to pay. And if Alberta separates, I don't think that they should have to bring any of that debt with them. In my estimate of it, if they left, it should be wipe their hands of it. Because with the amount of transfer payments that they've paid in decades, like, no, that wouldn't even be fair to even consider them on the hook for any of that stuff. Trish Prue for 279 says Justin Trudeau was caught on a hot mic saying Trump is serious. Really? I gotta find that clip. Trish, could you DM me that clip if you got it? Send it to me on Twitter or something. New Age Creator with another $2 says they want Alberta. USA wants Alberta. And well, it would make sense for them to want Alberta. They're the ones with the refineries for our type of crude. Really, at the end of the day, that's true. And this guy lays it out perfectly. Ryan Garrettson posted this maybe last week or so. Some good information on the oil we sell to the U.S. and not only that, the attitude from Americans on us and our Team Canada message. They don't care. They don't care.
Woo, buddy, you're not going to like how this goes. Fun fact, spent 4 years in the North Dakota oil fields. First year was as a flowback operator. The next 3 years was as a lease operator or a pumper, as it were. Yep, 4 years of oil field work in the great state of North Dakota. Oofta. So does the United States purchase a lot of Canadian oil exports? Survey says yes. We actually purchase 97% of the oil that you guys export. And that 97% of oil exports from Canada that we purchase in the United States, that accounts for 81% of your guys' entire oil production. Now, for some reason, you got it in your head that we desperately need to purchase this oil from you. Our oil and energy sector is going to die without Canadian exports. No, it's not. There's a very specific reason we purchase so much. It's because you guys sell that oil to us at a discount.
Very much.
Why would Canada sell so much oil at a discount? Well, simply put, it's because about 75% of your guys' total oil production is sour, heavy crude.
Yeah, it's not just that. Other countries could outfit for this stuff. And he's going to get into what he says totally makes sense, and I'm not disagreeing with him. But we could sell our energy on other markets. This is why we sell it so cheaply. And it's because we can't get it to other markets that Americans are like, I'll give you $10 for it. And we say, well, on the world market, it's worth $15. Then get it on the world market. Well, we can't. I'll give you $10 for it. You see how this works? And it's the liberals put us here. We had a plan to fix that, to alleviate that situation. And you know, with the looking forward to a conservative government moving in and greenlighting all these projects, now we have the Quebecers looking like they're going to be the roadblock in this. Not good. Anyway, here's his explanation.
Oh, well, why doesn't Canada just refine their oil, eh? It's because you guys can't.
We can't.
Your refineries can't handle sour crude.
And we could build them, but again, not greenlit. And right now, like, why would it make sense? We're selling it to, we send it down to the refineries there because they exist. And look at it this way. If we had good trade relations, there's no reason why we'd have to build the extra infrastructure to make it. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary to do that. But because we're having trade restrictions and barriers and all this other stuff, then it's like, oh, now we got to do our stuff all by ourselves. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense why we're doing this. And again, I really want to point the finger at Canada. Canada is the one who's been, for all this time, terrible on trade. The United States has been such a lovely big brother to us, allowing us to enter their market, as Bannon said, the Golden Gates were open for us. Well, guess what? Times are changing. Times are changing. And either we get on board with better trade relations, or we get shut out. Or better yet, we're allowed to enter the market, but at a levy. That's the way it's going to go. Where do we want to go with that?
And you guys don't even have the money to maintain or build the infrastructure that it would take to transport this oil across your own country. And that's if you were able to refine it in the first place. So the reason why we get to purchase the lion's share of your oil production at a highly discounted rate is because it's raw fucking oil.
Ooh, F-bombs,
sour oil packed full of H2S gas, which is the second most lethal gas on the planet, right next to what happens when you burn it. So because it's so heavily discounted, we actually save money by purchasing your exported oil versus just refining our own oil coming out of the Bakken Shale, which accounts for 61% of our oil production, which is sour heavy crude as well. Now factor in that crude oil accounts for 16% of anything that Canada exports. And
yes, 16% of all of our exports is oil. Defechu, welcome to the chat. Thanks for the $5. There used to be refineries in Oakville. We can do it again, and Canada can prosper, but the commies don't want us to succeed. But here's the thing, and I agree with you. We should be doing all these things. If we need the capacity for it, we should absolutely be doing it. If nobody other than us has the capacity to do it, we should be doing it. We should be exporting to external markets. We should have the capacity to do all that stuff. But we should also have good trade relations with the United States. Like it's not only the United States we're having trouble with. Last year in January, so just a year and a month ago, Trudeau and his idiots went to England to negotiate trade relations, and England told them, come back another time. I'm not kidding. They said, they walked away from the table. They said 250% tariff on milk and eggs and cheese. You're not serious. You're not a serious country. It's, I like that comment. I speak French, but I listen, Clyde. Guilbeault won't let you build a refinery. Yeah, no, he won't. He won't. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous where we're at. And just the posturing. We are not in the position, especially after 10 years of the Liberals. Like if the Liberals made Canada super prosperous and we had such a great economy and we built so many things here and we had, revolutionary new technologies and things that were happening here within the country. Yeah, then you could show up to the table and you'd be like, yeah, you know what? We're the king dang around here and I don't think I'm going to go with that deal. I think we want to have something better. We're not that. We are not that. We are not that. We aren't. We're not that. We have no leg to stand on in any of this. It's unbelievable. We have no leg to stand on here. So this is where we should be going into the negotiation, knowing where we're at and knowing how we've been screwed over, and say, okay, we'll go with some good trade negotiations, and we'll have to take a hit. We'll absolutely have to take a hit on this, but then immediately start building infrastructure. Where are you at, Clyde? I'm at home right now. No, I'm sorry. I'm in British Columbia. Close to Vancouver. But this is what we need to do. We need to first fix our relationship with the United States and fix it good so that they feel like they're getting a good deal by doing trade with us. That would be fantastic. And then start building our own infrastructure, because we have a way to go. We have a ways to go before we're back in the green. We are way in the red. We need to get to black first. We need to get to parity first. We got a long way to go, and we are in no position to be making demands at any negotiation table. No, none. But that's the deal. That's the deal we've been doing for way too long. And because times are changing, and now people have their focus on us. Other countries have their focus on us. China has their focus on us. Russia has their focus on us. Minerals way in the Arctic that are our territory. The United States is like, yeah, we want that. And we're going to get it. Would love to chat. No X or other. How could I give you my email? Not out loud. Yeah, that would be difficult. That would be difficult in the chat here. That's not exactly the... Canada has believed the political hype. Yes. I mean, if you look at the situation just this past week, you listen to the radio, you watch the news, you would think that Donald Trump cowered to Justin Trudeau. Like, what? That is not the case whatsoever. That is not the case whatsoever. It's incredible. Donald Trump's doing a lot of other things. Like, mind you, Donald Trump is doing a lot of other things. Justin Trudeau has one thing to worry about, and that's the trade relations with the United States. And he has been messing it up completely. Donald Trump's like, oh, you got 30 seconds to look at the trade thing with Canada? Yeah, just, no, I don't like that deal. Like, that's it. He's got a million other things on his plate. Anyway, I want to listen to the last of this clip.
And we buy 97% of that. Who's going to be hurting more economically if we just stop buying that raw oil from you and deal with refining our own shit? Crude oil by itself is a $124 billion a year industry in Canada, by the way. Just selling raw oil down the Keystone pipeline to American refineries. $124 billion.
It's a lot of money.
Canada, you guys do not have the leverage that you think you do economically.
I just said that, yeah.
And quite frankly, the United States is tired of playing nice and letting you bend us over the table and going in with no lube economically. So I'll say it again for the people in the back. If you guys just stopped ripping us off, you wouldn't be looking down the barrel of a 25% tariff. We're not bullying you. We're just making shit equitable on both sides. So get your shit together or figure out just how big of a boot in the ass you guys are going to get if you try to go into a trade war with the United States.
Yeah, it's not going to be a trade war. So this concept of it being a trade war is non-existent, because the tariffs are not about trade. The tariffs are not even about trade. They're about it's an economic sanction to get Canada to capitulate to what Donald Trump wants with the border security. Get rid of it's not just the border. The border is the main emphasis, but the things surrounding the border, right? So you've got the narcotics problem in Canada. You have immigration, letting in tourists tourists with the things strapped to their chests, those kind of tourists. Yeah, America doesn't want that stuff anymore. They're not going to take it. Dale Talk with a $2.79 super chat says, Canada, please, sir, may I have some more? Yeah, it's like Oliver Twist. It will be like that if we don't shape up. We don't have anything to go to the negotiation table with. It's unreal. Diane Sylvain with a $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Says, hi, Clyde. How long do you think this window of opportunity to fix our relationship with the U.S. will be open? Will Trump wait for a Pierre government whenever we get an election? Or whenever we get an election? Question mark. I don't think Trump's going to have the patience of a Mark Carney coming in and declaring a state of emergency to ignore the laws that we have and go to constitutional election time periods, which I think is the power play that they're going to do. The Liberals are going to try to do this. I genuinely think that this is their plan. I don't think Mark Carney is putting all this effort into becoming the Liberal leader to just like be the prime minister for a month and then lose to Pierre Poilievre. No, I think they're going to go for the long haul. They're going to try to do the 2026 thing. And I really don't think Trump's going to stand for that. I don't know what he's going to do about it. Man, I would love to be a fly on the wall in that conversation. I don't know what he's going to do about it. But it ain't going to be pretty, let me tell you. It is not going to be pretty. And not only that, like when Pierre Poilievre gets in, I think he's got to switch with the rhetoric, or at least get on the board of like not having to like say one thing and then go change the message, which he's done several times recently. I'll get into that in just a minute. Bill Simard becoming a member of the channel. Thank you so much. Welcome to the club, my man. Welcome. Great to have you. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any here. We got Rare 1AB with a $2 says, Clyde, did you see Trudeau's Ruthless? I'd talk days. Yeah, we're gonna go over that. Mr. Roscoe Pico for 5 says, Canada, the great state of denial. It is a great state of denial. And you know what? You get in trouble with the, like, I had people unsubscribe to me for having this harsh message of what Americans think of the Canadian situation. Wow. Like that, I mean, it sucks from my perspective. Is like, oh, I hate losing audience members. That's not cool. But, you know, and you guys know me. If I get something wrong, I'm happy to come out and make a whole video talking about, I was wrong on that, you know, da-da-da. But I didn't say anything wrong. It may have been harsh, but it wasn't wrong. I don't even know how to pronounce this, my man. But I'll try. Flecht 83 with a $3 super chat says, I hope Canada joins the U.S. liberation. Yeah. We all do. Oh, maybe we don't. We don't all. But for me, it's neither here nor there. I'm a dual citizen. So if Canada joins the United States, then it's no different. It's no different. It is no different. But I want to get into this. I'm going to have to find my message that I put out. Where did I put it? I put it somewhere. And this is the thing about having thousands of tabs open all the time, is trying to find where I put my things. Where did I put it? Oh no, I genuinely can't find it right now. What in the heck? Where did it go? Well, we'll start with the Trudeau saying his thing. This is just unreal. This is what he said. Unhinged Trudeau says he needs to get, what does he say? Unhinged Trudeau says he gets to be as ruthless as he wants before leaving office. As if he wasn't ruthless before, but let's listen to this.
I have to admit, my friends, I'm a little bit emotional tonight.
Don't care.
One of the things that comes with knowing that you're on a countdown clock to your last day means you get to be really ruthless about the things you want to do and the things that you don't want to do.
Yeah, we don't want you to continue to be prime minister, and the things that you want to do, maybe we should just not have you doing any of those. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Oh, it's terrifying. It's terrifying to even hear. I don't like to hear it. It'd be nice if that didn't happen. Here's another clip that just came out today. Gov.exe is corrupt. If you guys know him and you don't know him and you're on X, go give him a follow. He's a great account to follow in these times. He's always on top of it. He's got all these clips out there is the minute they come out. Justin Trudeau says Team Canada must use the next 30 days as tactically to show America the F-bomb, like the other F word, the narcotic F word, problem is tiny. So we have to convince them that it's a small problem, even though it's like, you know, details are coming out that we are the hub of that product going out to the world. And yes, we're capturing 1% of the amount that goes into the United States at the border, but we are the capital of that thing in this place. So it's not a tiny problem, not in the least. And strategically to develop a plan for counter tariffs and supports, and wants Canadians to know he has our backs. Oh wow, oh, just really making me feel at home and assured here. Justin Trudeau. Now I haven't actually listened to this clip yet. I got this just before we went live, so I'll be reacting with this to this live with you guys. So here we go.
So we need to both start thinking tactically and strategically. On the tactical side, we need to talk about tariffs.
Idiot! Oh, sorry. Already. Tactically, tariffs are not what Donald Trump is doing. It's a sanction. It's an economic sanction. Yes, it's a tariff. Sorry, but Canada already has way more tariffs on the United States than than the United States has on us. We already have way more tariffs. Idiot. Idiot. Idiot, idiot, idiot. And why are you publicly going out where it's being recorded and can be heard by the President of the United States talking about, we tricked them. We tricked them. We're going to bring in tariffs. What are you doing?
The 30 days extension been given on the border or fentanyl tariffs is something we need to use. We need to be very deliberate about how we continue to engage closely with the United States to make the case and demonstrate that Canada is responsible for a tiny part.
No. See, the United States has the CIA. They have intelligence apparatus all over the place. You don't need to tell them about what's happening in Canada, Justin Trudeau. You don't. They know what's happening in Canada. You coming to them and saying, listen, let me give you some of the data, and this works on CBC watchers. This works on people who have been propagandized. It's not going to work on the President of the United States of America, who has all of the intelligence apparatus. He probably knows what you ate for breakfast this morning, Justin Trudeau. Nothing is being hidden. CIA dealers, yeah, they are. They are. They know the game. They know how this works. When they're sending USAID to Afghanistan to invest in agriculture in Afghanistan, we all know what that means. We all know what that means. They're just making poppy seeds for bagels. Yeah, that's right. No. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. We need to convince him. Like, this isn't the inflation where you can just flub the numbers in the basket of goods in our CPI and then go tell the public, like, no, actually, inflation is quite low. Don't pay attention to how much money you spend at the pump and at the on your accommodation and on food at the grocery store. Just don't pay attention to that. Look at our numbers. Look at the numbers. The charts are great because you just flub the numbers. This is absolutely insane. One WW guy with a $5 super chat. I'm in Ontario. The USA doesn't want all of Canada. Ontario is too liberal. They definitely don't want Quebec. Too socialistic. Canada will be dismantled. Libs' fault. Yes. Like I said, the balkanization of Canada. If if Alberta leaves, like, believe me, if Alberta leaves, it's the end of Canada. Canada's done. Quebec won't get their money anymore. The Maritimes won't get their transfer payments anymore. Ontario won't get their transfer payments. They'll have to. Then Ontario and Quebec will start scrapping over whatever, and they'll separate, and it's the end of it. It's the end of it. And, you know, then it's a situation where the U.S. comes in with an even worse deal for Canada. You think you want that? You think you want that? Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Again, with the question, what about the native land? Yeah, the natives will have to cut their own deals. I mean, I'm not trying to be insensitive to natives, or to indigenous people. But the thing is, if it's your nation, cut a deal. Cut a deal. I don't know what else to tell you, but this is a time in our history where things are going to get a little rough. Things are going to get a little rough, and we need to buck up and start looking after our deals that we have. Danielle Smith, who's about the only one with a head on her shoulders that's a representative in Canada in the past little bit, the budget will balance itself. Yeah, the trades will negotiate themselves, right? Danielle Smith was the only one. Indigenous people never had a border. No, they haven't. And that's it. It's really going to come down to that. Are they going to be able to negotiate a deal in this new North America that's coming? That's coming. Get on the phone now. I'll get the answer. Now is the answer. I love that. Oh, that's so funny. Diane Sylvain with a $10 super chat says, Canada is I can't say that word, haven for fen, the other word you're not allowed to say here, worldwide. Right now in BC, the highest mortality category is toxic ODs, ages 10 to 59, BC stats. 80% of those are due to the F word that you can't say on YouTube. Trudeau is happy to destroy Canada, and he's doing it with China. China wants this stuff over here. You know that, right? It's destroying our nation. It's warfare. It's warfare. And this is why Trump is like, nope, I'm putting an end to it. And the thing that's got me thinking, Danielle can only do so much as a premier. I understand that, but she's the only one actually doing something in the right capacity. And she's people criticize her. It's not her job to go to talk to the president of the United States. Well, yeah, I know. It's the liberal government. It's the federal government's job to do that, and they didn't. So she had to step up and do it. And she saved the day for Alberta, let me tell you. Absolutely. But where was I going? Where was I going? Yeah, Trudeau is happy to destroy Canada. And it is a war. It is a war. Believe me. And this is why Trump wants to stop it. And China's happy. They're just like, destroying you guys. Taking you guys out. Brenda Weeb for $6.99 says, stop and think. Who paid the eco protesters in the first place? This has been a long time in the making. You're right. You're right. Yeah, why is it that they're all like funded by the George Soros Foundation? All this stuff. This is the fight back. This is the death rolls of these guys learning that they're not going to be able to ruin our society. And they're trying, they're hanging on, they're doing their best they can. Even Trudeau's ego has been smacked into check. No, the eyes on the prize. We want our stakeholder capitalism. We're gonna get it. And they're not gonna win against what's coming with Donald Trump. Heather Marie with a $6.99 super chat says, either eat Pierre wins, or either eat Pierre wins or he doesn't. Trump installs tariffs or not. The P-czar is still a narcotics lord. Yeah, that's why I was joking. Like when it comes to that czar that we're supposed to get in Canada, are they going to appoint Randy Boissonneau? And that makes you think too, right? That makes you think if Randy Boissonneau was involved in trafficking of nose candy, and it's totally fine. He resigned his position, but he's still an MP, and he's like totally fine, untouchable. How much of this F trade proceeds are going to this guy, right? How much? How much are going to all the other members of Parliament and the Liberal Party? How much is going to Carney? Why is it that they don't want that to end? What? Corruption? What? rare Alberta for $2 says, Clyde, this is China's revenge from the Opium Wars 2.0. Yeah. Well, that's where they got the idea. They know about this. Anyway, I'm going to continue with this video because it's been sitting there paused for a while.
Of the North American fentanyl problem, but that we are also bitterly touched by this tragedy. We also want to be part of solving for this.
You caused the tragedy. Don't tell me you're touched by it. You could end the tragedy. Don't tell me you're touched by it. Stop noticing things, Clyde.
And over the next 30 days, we will demonstrate that even the tiny amount that is Canada's responsibility into the United States is going to reduce even further by working together, not just across our border, but internationally as well.
You're not working on anything. There was the biggest bust in Canadian history took place in British Columbia. And the RCMP went in there and were like, hey, look at all the stuff we found. How much money did you find? Well, there wasn't very much. Oh, there wasn't very much. There was $400 million worth of product, and there was like 500K in cash. Yeah, they didn't have much of it. Oh, how many people did you arrest in this giant factory? One guy. Oh, one guy? One guy? You arrested one guy in Canada's largest facility where they had firearms enough for a small army. That one guy, he was used to operate all those firearms. One guy. Well, at least tell me it was one of the cartel members that were running the show that you said. No, he was an Indian guy. What? You got the janitor. Good job. Makes you wonder who's on the take on that side of things. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you don't think that the intelligence apparatus in the United States is looking at this and going, we're not going to let this happen anymore. We're not going to allow for this. If Carney tries to come in and take power and pull this whole thing off, I wouldn't be surprised to see just like, oops, the CIA leaked all the information that we know about Chinese interference in the Canadian government. Oops. You know? I don't know if that wouldn't be a thing. You know? One WW guy with a $5 super chat says, Ontario has a Danielle Smith. Oh, hold on. Ontario has a Danielle Smith. Her name is Belinda Karahalios, head of the New Blue Party of Ontario. And we're in an election. Help save Canada. Vote New Blue in Ontario. Well, I have to learn more about that. I don't know much about it myself. Dale Talk with a 279 super chat says, why Carney not disclosing his financials? Why is he not doing a lot of things? Yeah, of course. Of course. Why is he getting briefed on intelligence? That is a better question. Why is he being briefed on intelligence? He's not an elected representative in Canada. He's a bought into the party Laurentian elite who just, paid the money. Damn wobbly pops, yeah. Just paid the money to get in to the running race. And what now suddenly he's privy to CSIS briefings that even the leader of the opposition can't get without signing a deal that he'll be secret forever on that and face up to 14 years in prison if he says anything about it. Is that not crazy? Not even a representative, never been voted in, getting secret clearance. That is nuts. That is absolutely nuts. So that means you can pay for CSIS clearance in Canada. You just got to have 350 grand. And oh no, actually you can't just do that. Sorry, they booted out Arya Chandra or whatever his name was because he couldn't speak French. Is that why he booted him out? No, because Carney can't speak French either. They couldn't say that either. It's unreal, totally unreal. Brenda Weeb, am I not missing one? No, we're not missing one. Brenda Weeb for 6.99 says, bit of history. The British got rich selling opium in China. Now China gets rich selling fent. Yep. And we got to shut it down. So see, the thing is they don't sell us that. They sell us the precursor chemicals to that. And then we allow the cartels and apparently 4,000 different agencies, 4,000 different organizations, not 4,000 people, 4,000 criminal organizations. We allow them to then manufacture the stuff in Canada. Then from there, it's shipped out to other places in the world. This is crazy. Crazy. Let's keep going. We're not even halfway through this video.
Those tariffs do end up coming in, or if the investigation into commerce tariffs that are scheduled for April move forward, we need to be ready to respond robustly as we are. We also have to be ready to support Canadians through the responses we're giving and through it.
Oh, this is the worst. This is where they get into UBI. Sheridan Forbes saying the whole country is for sale, and remind the chat to hit that like button for more great content and moments. It doesn't cost anything but a click to show you support. Thank you. Get down there, hit that like button. If you just come in, perhaps, or you've been hanging out for a little bit and nobody's told you to hit the like button yet, and you're like, oh, look at that. I look down and it's not been clicked. Let me click on that. Hit that like button, folks. It helps out a ton. I really appreciate it. But yeah, hit that like button. The real question is, after all these years, what chapstick did Trudeau use when following Carney's orders? What chapstick? I don't get the chapstick part, but I do get the part that he was following Carney's orders the whole time. Because yes, if you think that Trudeau is a World Economic Forum crony, well, Mark Carney is the World Economic Forum. He's coming in. He's the guy. Instead of having to take calls from the World Economic Forum, they're just trying to bring in the World Economic Forum.
Difficult time of tariffs. That's something we have to talk about.
Wait, what was I going to say? I was going to say something on this. Heather Marie with another $6.99. Thank you so much, by the way. How about Jordan Peterson referring to the WEF? They're drunk on the fumes of their own self-righteous delusions. Yeah, I talked about that earlier. Their self-righteous delusions. This is the old Plato's cave, right? So the whole concept is, when it comes to totalitarians or Marxists or anybody who wants to take over, it comes with this hubris of this idea that, well, I know lots of people have tried to do it before, but I'm smarter than them. I'm smart. I can do it. I'm going to take over the world, and then the world will work perfectly under my supervision. They're idiots. They're idiots. They don't realize, and it's hubris. It's prideful. It's dumb. And it will ruin the world. It will ruin, like, any place that they touch, they will be ruined. Yes. I asked Clyde to consider an interview on Wednesday Super Chat. An interview with who? Who was it? I have a whole list of people that I have to contact for interviews. But yes, it really is the hubris. It's the idea that, oh, well, you know, if everybody just came together and they shared, the world would work. But it would need a central authority, and you know, of course, that central authority is going to have to be me. I'm going to have to be the one who decides all of the things. We're going to take away all your rights, and then if we need you to do something, you're going to just go ahead and do it. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and come in on Sunday, right? It's absolute just hubris. That's where it is. I love my Canadian neighbors. I just want you to move. Wait, just want you to move into my place. I think you're trying to say I just don't want you to move into my place. Yeah, it's good to have you as neighbors. Please give a quick shout out to the Celtic Canuck. She's good too. Shout out to Celtic Canuck. I see that she's making videos again. But there was a point I wanted to make. Sorry, I gotta rewind it just a little bit. Sorry, you're gonna have to hear a little bit more Justin Trudeau voice.
Through the responses we're giving.
That's right. So they're getting into this. They're using this crisis that they're creating. By the way, this crisis doesn't need to happen. Just capitulate with what Trump is asking. Move forward. Get the security happening. Make sure that we don't have crime and all these other things happening. Clyde, that's what I meant. Thanks for translating. No problem. No problem. This is definitely a situation created by the liberals. And what are they doing? They're coming in with more socialism. We're gonna have measures for all these people that are gonna be hurt by our policy, and we're gonna come in and we're gonna give them, just like we did during COVID, we're gonna help them out and we're gonna give them free money to sit on their butts. This is gonna ruin Canada. This is gonna destroy Canada, not fundamentally, absolutely, if this took place. All of the productive members of society will leave and collect. Believe you me. Like, you think all just like the people who are like, I lost my job because of Trudeau are gonna like apply for it? No, everyone's gonna apply for it. The last go around, there was so much waste and fraud, and people got money and they got away with it. Nobody said tickety boo. Members of the CRA, the members of the Canada Revenue Agency, the Canada's IRS, the tax collectors, members of that were defrauding CERB to the 10th degree. They were getting checks, multiple checks per person. And when they investigated it and they found out that was happening, what did they do? Not one perp walk. Not one guy went to jail for that. When you sign on the dotted line, right? When you sign on the dotted line for a CERB payment or unemployment, it says in the paperwork, if you're untruthful in your testimony here, it is, you can be fined and see jail time. These people were joking about it. They joked about it on a radio station. CRA's filled with DEI hires, dude. They're filled with all kinds. But they were defrauding the taxpayer. And even though it says right on it, you can see jail time, they were caught by CRA. Did they call the RCMP? Nope. Some people were reprimanded and some people were let go. What? And this is what they're going to bring in. So do you think anyone is going to not collect on it? Holy cow. So many people are going to collect on it. So many people are going to collect on it. And I've heard stories. Holy hell, did I hear a story? People who were working, they would ask to be laid off. Or ask to be like, "Oh, I'm scared. I might get COVID. I got to go home." And then they would go back to the boss and say like, "So I'm home with the COVID thing. I'm scared to come back, but I'm not scared to do an under the table gig for you." So people were double dipping all over the place. It was unreal. And so like I knew a guy who told me that he was at Canadian Tire building bikes as a employee, right? As an employee making, I don't know, very little. And they would have him build bikes and stock shelves and do a lot of stuff. And he took the CERB money so he could stay home. But Canadian Tire called him up and said, "We got no one to build bikes, and we have a lot of people wanting bikes now because everything's shut down, so they want to ride bikes." So bike sales were through the roof. And they offered him to do piecework under the table. The corporation Canadian Tire paid him under the table, knowing full well that he was collecting CERB. Paid him under the table piecework. So because he was doing piecework and he could get more bikes, he could get a lot of bikes done. He was actually making more money than he made when he was working for them and collecting. Like this is where we went during COVID. And Trudeau is talking about doing this all over again, but on a bigger level. Why? Because he's created a scenario in Canada where the president of the United States can't put up with the behavior anymore and has to put on sanctions. And he's using it as an opportunity to further entrench the destruction of the nation of Canada. This is what's happening.
And through a difficult time of tariffs, that's something we have to talk about. But we have to keep in mind that our goal will always be to get those tariffs lifted as quickly as possible.
Well, we all know how to do that. And Trudeau knows how to do that. And that's why he did it at the 23rd hour. The last minute, put out a message. "I'm going to capitulate with Donald Trump and I'm going to take care of the border." Full well knowing that that's what the whole situation was about. But here he is again talking about trade wars, which is not even a thing. It's not a trade war. When the United States economy is 100 times ours, there is no such thing as a trade war with a country like that. There's a trade demolition if you are a petulant fool and keep doing this. Then they could just hurt you real bad. It's not going to hurt America. The automotive industry, like he was talking about going into the summer with this. He was telling people to change their summer plans. Don't go to America for summer vacation. if you look at the automotive industry in Canada, as I was speaking to earlier in the stream, and maybe not everybody who's in the chat here was in the stream earlier, but I was alluding to the fact that in the United States had so much manufacturing going on that they were running out of people to do the jobs, especially in the Michigan area, the Ohio area. There was just way too much work. And so they had to start offloading some of the manufacturing into Canada. It was just, they had no other choice. So but now it's different, because there's a lot of people that would love to have those automotive jobs in America. They would love to have those jobs. Absolutely. But the capital and the infrastructure and everything is already built in Canada. So, I mean, it just makes sense to keep using it. But if Justin Trudeau wants a trade war, what do you think is going to happen? The United States, those companies, you got to picture it this way. When a car is made, it's not like every place makes a piece and then it goes to the one place and then it's put together. It's, you might have a foundry in Ohio that makes a ring gear, but the ring gear is raw, and then it gets shipped to maybe a place that does grinding and precision work in Ontario that cuts it so it looks like a ring gear. And they do a bunch of other processes as well along the same lines. But then that ring gear, now the ring and pinion gear have to go back to another place back into America, perhaps in Michigan, like for the Dana Corporation or something like that. And then it goes into a differential, but maybe that casting is made in Quebec, and the casting for the differential, so that has to get shipped to the place in Michigan where they put it together, and then they make the axle, and they put that all together, and then the rotors are made in Sudbury, Ontario. So they have to ship those in from Sudbury, Ontario, and then they have to ship the whole axle back to Windsor, Ontario to be put on a vehicle. Do you get what I'm saying here? There's so many transactions back and forth. A 25% tariff cannot work. Cannot work. So what would be the solution for the automotive manufacturers in this situation? They would pick up their plants in Canada. They would say, sorry, people, but you're out of work now, and we're moving this to Toledo. We're moving this to wherever, right? And that is the situation that would happen. And whose fault would it be? Donald Trump? This guy. That's whose fault it would be, because this is unnecessary. Absolutely. Rare One Alberta with a $2 super chat says Trudy went after airsoft effing plastic BBs. WTF? I know he did. And there's actually, because I like airsoft and I have some, and I think the game's fun. It's a lot of fun. There are some of the biggest YouTubers in the airsoft game are from Canada. And they almost got completely shut down because of Trudeau. It's unreal. I need to let this video finish.
But also make sure we're protecting Canadians and moving forward. This is Team Canada at its very best.
Oh, man. If that's Team Canada at its best, Team Canada is a pile that you want nothing to do with. Oh, my goodness. I don't know where to go from there. All I know is, how about I'm going to find it because I need to pull this up. It needs to be said. I need to get this out there. A couple of tweets that I've had over the past week or so. Man, I've been tweeting a lot more these days. Absolutely been doing that a little bit more. By the way, everybody out there that follows on Twitter, on X, thank you so much. The audience is growing quite quickly over there now. I've been spending a lot of time there. It's a great place, a great source for for this the content. I'm also trying to find this and other asinine things that have been happening in Canada that I just don't understand. Let me pull this up. Where are we? Found it. Well, before we get into that, I just want to pull this up because this is just some of the ludicrous things that we're seeing in Canada. British Columbia here. Ellen DeGenerate. Very true. The federal government considers airsoft players as enemies of the state. They don't want anyone training in a tactical manner. Well, I mean, people train on video games or training with airsoft. I get what you're saying, though. They don't. Clyde is right. This falls on Trudeau's shoulders. It does. And it absolutely can't forget this. And by extension, the Liberal government. So I want to play this because this is a video I put out, and it's ludicrous that this is the behavior of our politicians in the country.
Effective today, I have directed BC.
By the way, this is David Eby, the Premier of British Columbia. If you didn't know this, a complete lunatic. We have, that bad stuff, the F word, all in our streets. People dying all the time because of it, and it was his idea. To get that stuff going. Airsoft training reminds me of how the Highland Games used to be. No? Yeah, caber toss and all that stuff. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's listen to this.
Effective today, I have directed BC liquor sales to immediately stop buying American liquor from red states. Liquor store employees will be removing the most popular of these brands from government store shelves.
A few moments later.
I'm just curious, how soon will British Columbia will see the liquor from Republican states being put back on the shelves?
We will pause all of our non-tariff measures here. It's a measure of good faith to pause them.
See, as you can see, the more you around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stayed on here and you never around.
Effective today.
You're never going to find out. It kills me watching that. Too funny. It's hilarious, but it's a clown show. How in your right mind, as a leader of a province, are you going to put this out into the world, into the ether? You're trying to flex to Canadians, but what are you showing to your American neighbors? Like, of course, we neighbor with a blue state, and it's the blue coast, right? So David Eby thinks, oh, we're safe. We're totally safe. We can have our California wine, and we can wine and dine, and maybe I'll get invited to Gavin Newsom's place one day. We can go party like it's 2021 under lockdowns, if you know what I'm saying. They're disgusting. They're disgusting human beings. They're absolutely disgusting human beings. They have no sense of diplomacy whatsoever. Banning anything coming from a red state. So you want to punish people who voted in a democratic election for the guy you don't like, the orange man bad guy. Crazy. Clyde, why did you name your channel the way you did? It was a joke. And it stuck. I've done production, video production with a bunch of different groups over the years, and this is why I know how to do all this stuff. I'm going to make a long story short, and just say, with one group that I was working with, it became clear in the audience who was doing all of the production and all the stuff in the background while everybody was doing like live streams and stuff. And the joke became in the audience, hey, Clyde, would you do something? Clyde, why don't you do something? Hey, Clyde, do something. And then it just shrunk down to, hey, Clyde, do something, or just Clyde, do something. And so when I was done with them, I set up this channel to, I didn't even know what I was gonna do. I just wanted to talk about stuff, and so I did a rebrand of this channel. I wanted to just call it Clyde, but there was somebody else named Clyde with a big following, so I just called it. So I just said, "Oh, I'll call it Clyde Do Something for now, and then I'll change it before anything happens." And nope, I didn't change it before anything happens. It's Clyde Do Something, and that's how it stuck. So that's the thing. So it was a joke from the beginning. So let's get into this. It starts with this one. So on February 1st, Pierre Poilievre put out a tweet saying, "Do you ever work on a gull wing Mercedes?" No. No thanks. No thanks. I've worked on old school convertible Mercedes. I'm just like, no, nothing but problems. Dale Talk with a 279. Thanks again for all you do, Clyde. Great work. You're great. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. That's amazing. So this tweet, and I know we're going into like the third hour right now. Actually, right on cue. We're on the third hour. I want to make this point because this is one of the ones I really wanted to just get off my chest. And by the way, folks, the reason why I do this and why it's like it feels like little work. It feels like very little work to actually do this and bring these messages to you, the audience, is actually one of the guys I work with. We were talking about this the other day, and he was like, "Man, I don't know how you do it, because I would be so stressed out. I'd be so stressed out to think about what the government's doing every day and then talk about it before I even go to work. Like, wake up super early and then have all of this stress. I would just be, pulling my beard out, like just going nuts." And so he says this to me, and I said, "You know what? It's actually my coping mechanism. It's my ability to get it off my chest before my day even starts. I can talk about these things. I can look over what's happening in Canada, look over what's happening in the world, what's happening in the news, and get it off my chest. Say my piece about it, and at least have that." And he's like, "Wow, I never thought of it that way." But what makes it even more incredible is I'm not just saying this out there in the ether, which I thought in the beginning when I was doing this, I thought I was just going to throw it out into the ether and whatever, who cares? At least I'm just saying it. But I'm saying it to a bunch of like-minded people, with a lot of people with great insight, great input, great conversations that happen either in the chat or end up continuing on Twitter. New avenues open up. I get to meet new people, interview people, bring people on, continue the conversation. It's just become this amazing thing. It's fantastic. And I just wanted to express that. So as much as you, Dale Tulk, want to say I'm great, thank you, I want to say you guys are great. This really motivates me. This really is what pushes us forward and makes me want to keep going. And it not only just like makes me want to keep going, but it gives me the energy to keep going. It makes it feel fulfilling. It really is that. So thank you. Thank all of you for that. Now let's get into this. I wanted to talk about this. So on February 1st, Pierre Poilievre puts out this tweet, and he says, "Show face takes a lot of balls. Don't minimize what you do for Canadians." I know it takes balls to throw your face out there. Continue kicking ass. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna keep doing what I can, as much as I can. I keep going. Part of the move to the U.S. is about my fear of retribution that might, so I might be able to speak more freely in that position as well as bringing this story and this dialogue to a much bigger audience potentially. I really want to do that. So let's get on this. And this is another one that got people upset with me, of course. And people will get upset with me. I've told people this right out of the gates. Like, if you think I'm going to be a cheerleader for Pierre, no, I'm not going to have the pom-poms. Sorry, not sorry. And when Pierre gets in, which I hope he does, when he gets in, I'm going to be the first to criticize when he's not doing things right, and when he's in the inaction and all these other things that I'm expecting actually from this prime minister. So keep that in mind as well. You might find yourself disagreeing with me some days or things like that. And that's fine. That's fine. We can disagree. I mean, I'm not doing it to be rude. I'm doing it, and I'll explain. You'll hear the reason why here in just a minute. Rare 1AB with another 2 says, I appreciate you and Marty. Thank you, sir. Or sorry, thank you, Night Duder. Oh, you're out? You're out? All right. Well, I'm going to make this point, and then I'll be heading over to the Discord, where we usually carry on the conversation afterwards in the Discord. So anybody who wants to come in, maybe you can speak your mind to me personally, like over video chat. Make sure you sign up for the Discord. Somebody will have a link in one of the mods. Will pop the link in here. If not, I don't know. I don't have the link currently. Hopefully somebody will pop the link. There it is. Audio Jack's on the ball. There you go. So the link for the Discord is right there. So if you wanted to get in there and do that. Ellen Degenerate saying, and that's why we love you. You're critical of the government, whoever that is and will be. Yeah, that's what I need to be. But you know what? It's going to make people, ruffle some feathers. It will. And it has this week. So let's get into it. Pierre Poilievre saying, we must put Canada first. This was his message on February 1st, right? That's why common sense conservatives condemn President Trump's massive, unjust, and unjustified tariffs on Canada. Canada's already weak economy. Unjust and unjustified, probably not the language that is deserving of this. I don't agree with that. I don't think they're unjust, and I don't think they're unjustified. They're laid out there for a specific reason. They're not tariffs for a trade war, as I've said many times. And they're a form of economic sanction to get you to change your behavior. And this is all, mind you, this is all behavior that Pierre Poilievre is all for. Like, look at him in the House of Commons. Because, like, as soon as I criticize Pierre for this, then people point this out. I'm pointing this out too. I want to see more of this Pierre. I absolutely want to see more of this Pierre.
Results are in on the Prime Minister's radical liberalization of hard drugs. He teamed up with the BC NDP to decriminalize fentanyl, crack, and heroin. He lowered jail sentences for mass producers of deadly fentanyl. And 80% of the fentanyl made in Canada is done so using ingredients that are not even regulated, but come right into our country where they're cooked into that poison, now threatening our trade relationship with the U.S. Will he reverse his radical liberal drug agenda to save lives and jobs?
This is what Trump is on about. This exact message. He doesn't need to go and capitulate with the liberal elites and the liberal base on any of this stuff, but he does. He does, and he calls it this stuff. Canada is united. Canada is the United States' closest neighbor. I'm gonna have to read it over here. It's much larger on the screen. Sorry. Greatest ally and best friend. We share the longest undefended border and fought alongside Americans in 2 world wars, Korea, Afghanistan. They're 158 of our... So this sentiment is like, why? Do you think that they don't know? Do you think that this is geared at a sentiment kind of thing for Canadians to like, why? We know about this. Somebody mentioned Franco in the chat. Love Franco. Franco Terrazzano for Maple Doge. Oh, man. Yeah. He wins my nomination. Absolutely. If Franco Terrazzano was to be Maple Doge leader, I'm for it. I'm absolutely for it. But so this is the reason why it irks me so much is this is the exact rhetoric that was coming out of Justin Trudeau. Not different. Not even different. The Liberals must put aside their partisan interests and recall Parliament now to pass a Canada First plan that will, number one, retaliate with dollar for dollar tariffs carefully aimed at maximizing impact on American companies while minimizing impact on Canadian consumers. That means targeting U.S. products that we can make ourselves, buy elsewhere, or do without. For example, we must retaliate against American steel and aluminum as Canadians can make those vital products at home. We've talked about why this is stupid. Don't get into a trade war. This isn't a trade war. This is not about trade wars. This is about economic sanctions for bad behavior. Let's fix the behavior. Let's get working on that. Number two, put all tariff revenues into help for affected workers. So, fine. If you were to go ahead and put tariffs on, don't put it into tax revenue. Whatever. We have so many tariffs already that we're just putting in a general revenue. That it's unbelievable. Tariffs should not be even an option. This should be last resort. Doing a trade war. Last resort. We've done all the things that Canadian voters want us to do. American interests want us to do. And is all around just the right thing to do. Stop the crime, stop the stuff going through the border, stop the bad guys going through the border. 3, pass a massive emergency bring it home tax cut to bolster the economy. Stop inflation and save. Declare a state of emergency is what he's saying here. I get it. Tax cut would be great. That would be great. But still, a state of emergency because you're expecting it to occur. 4, immediately scrap all liberal anti-resource laws. Okay, LNG pipelines, all that stuff. Too little, too late. We're not going to have a pipeline built in 30 days to get to the coasts. This is something should have been done 10 years ago. It wasn't. We get it. The Liberals messed up. Bring in 5. Bring in truly free trade with Canada by knocking down interprovincial barriers to help replace lost north-south trade, east-west trade to make us self-reliant. Should have done that anyway. Should have done that anyway. Absolutely. And that's a domestic thing. It has nothing to do with the border and the Americans at all. Brenda Weeb for $6.99 says, for me, this speech of Pierre's was his first mistake. Hope he didn't keep it up. No, he didn't. We're going to get into that. No, he didn't. We'll get into that. So number six on the list. Number 6, rebuild our military, take back control of our borders to regain the confidence of our partners, assert our sovereignty, protect our people, and put Canada first. Number 6. Do you think the guy you're negotiating with is going to like the fact that that's number 6 on your list? That sounds kind of rude, to be honest. We will protect our economy, defend our sovereignty, bring home production and paychecks, and never back down. We will put Canada first, now and always. I noticed he stopped saying they put Canada first, put Canada last. That didn't sound good. Just the optics didn't sound good. Canada first, now and always is the new message. Philip Neves, with a $5 super chat, says, free trade was a mistake for Canada. Since we signed the free trade agreement, tens of thousands of companies have bought up by Americans, including Kicking Horse Coffee. I would add. So if you don't want to buy an American coffee, you go over and get some Clyde Brew something coffee. That would be it tastes better anyway. It tastes better, locally produced here in Canada, right in Burnaby, British Columbia, which is Vancouver. Get yourself some of that. No, Philip Neves, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, it was not a great deal. Not a great deal. Not a great deal. And neither is this. So I tweeted this out. Retweeted it. Sixth. The sixth thing on the list is actually the thing that would end this nonsense from the get-go. Fix the border should be number one. Number one. You want to be a good neighbor? Be a good neighbor. And of course, I got a lot of feedback. I got a lot of feedback on this one. Some negative, some positive, but I like it. I like that. I don't want to, because I feel it's pandering if you're always trying to find out what the audience wants and then go towards that. No, I just want to be truthful and I want to be honest. And if that sucks and people disagree, well, that sucks. Let's talk about it. And here we are. We're talking about it. And I like this. I like that. Because that's where we should go for it. If it makes people so turned off that they're like, I'm unsubscribing and I'm out of here. Well, I lament the fact that happened, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna capitulate or change my ways. I'd rather just be honest. We absolutely need to stay engaged. Yes. And this is kind of where this goes, because this one caused a bit of the backlash as well. So what happened right after? Pierre Poilievre got the message, not just from me, but from other people saying the same thing. And he came the very next day with a new message, which was the border first. The border first. And then I think it was the day or the day after that, that he came out with this Stop the Drugs campaign and did this other press conference, which he did in front of barges that were bringing in products into the country, right? So this is the thing. So I typed this in there and I wholeheartedly, I still believe this. And I think this. I said, I think Pierre Poilievre's government is going to be exhausting. It's going to be exhausting. It seems like he's just behind the curve on a lot of issues and needs the nudging to get on the right page nearly every step of the way. When it comes to parental rights, he was a no-show. He was a total no-show until there was backlash for like, where are you? And, you know, his pom-pom wavers were like, he said stuff about it months ago. It's like, yes, he did. And that's why we need him now. That's why we need him on the front lines of this. What are you doing? I thought this is a leadership race. We're talking about the leadership of the country. Come on. What? So parental rights, he was a no-show. No-show, you know, you had the Liberals and the NDPs going out there fighting against parental rights. Why? Losing argument, woke crap that people are just not savory. And what does he do? A few days later, makes a statement because of all the backlash. Pierre, where are you? I had a video where it was where's Waldo, but it was where's Pierre on that time because of that. Pierre is a catchphrase comedian. So yeah, the catchphrases, that's some of that. Maybe we'll get into that. Team Canada retaliatory tariffs until backlash, and then he pivots to borders and the F stuff. That's not gonna lie, it's irritating. It seems he ends up in the right spot, but only when he's pushed. It's like all Canadians will have to set aside time every week to make sure he's still on the right path. So this is what I'm saying. It's going to be exhausting. It's going to be absolutely exhausting. having this guy. Now, don't get me wrong, you only have so many characters to say what you have to say, but don't get me wrong, we have his ear, and that's awesome. That's awesome that we have Pierre Poilievre's ear. He takes into consideration what his constituents want. Absolutely. But why is the default position the Ottawa narrative? That sucks. That absolutely sucks. So getting into some of these back and forths, you know what I mean? So like got this with Eva Chipiuk, and she's right. She's absolutely right, saying it's the job of the citizens, but we have been negligent for far too long. And just hope someone would fix all the problems. It will not happen. We have to pull up our socks and get to work. Democracy is not a spectator sport. It requires active participation. I am totally with you on this one. I agree with this. And if you've been following the channel for some time, I've been talking about this. We need to be more active. We fell asleep. We let the lobbyists take control, and the globalists. This is a thing. So this is where we're at. And I replied, oh, I get that. But do we really have to drag our guy along to do the right thing every time, kicking and screaming? Is that what needs to happen? And Razib Bashar replying to that would be exhausting. Yeah, that would be exhausting. If every step along the way, it would be that. It's called democracy, and it's hard work, saying Eva Chipiuk. And I agree. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disagreeing with her on this. I'm just saying, but does it have to be like, do we have to, is it always got to be the default like Ottawa consultant position of, you gotta play it safe? And no, maybe we need to have some like take a stand on some things. And I get it, we're not actually in the election. He doesn't want to reveal his platform, but ooh. Rob saying, with all due respect, our military, I don't trust the military to protect us in a snowball fight. Yep. Yeah. And of course, yeah, I get a lot of people saying the PPC thing, and you guys know that I don't buy into the PPC thing. I don't think, and for good reason, right? So I don't think that it's the right strategy to try to put together a new party in this situation. Now, we take the lessons from Donald Trump, take the lessons from Ron Paul. Ron Paul's the best example in this one. Ron Paul was an independent. He did with the libertarians for decades. It wasn't until he went, you know what? If I run it as a Republican, I'll get voted in. Who's this? Church of Hertz. The Church of Hertz. I like that. For 2, he says we can't vote on bills, but we pay for them. Costly. Yes, it is costly. So some more of the feedback here. Mr. Sunshine Baby says it seems they follow trends instead of taking hard stances on issues. I agree. It's exhausting. Yeah, it's exhausting. So I said, it's like having a car that veers to the left because of a misalignment. A trip across the town is no trouble, but if you have to correct for it constantly on a long haul, it'll wear you out. It'll absolutely wear you out if we have to keep correcting for this. To which he says, car reference by a mechanic. I love it. Yeah, of course. Do what you know best. And then, I like this one. Arbutus saying, it's bad for the tires also. If we have to punish him so hard, how solid is the foundation that works for him? His deputy prime minister had a transgender flag in her profile. Yeah, so yeah, I don't fault, you know. Personally, I don't care about people who want to be trans or gay or any of this LGBT stuff. I don't care. Like from my point of view as a libertarian, I'm fine with people choosing their own lifestyle, how they want to live their life. It's when they come and start saying we want, special privileges and all this other stuff and call them rights. And I'm not for that. As far as I can understand, his deputy PM, what's her name? Melissa Lantsman. She isn't for any of that stuff. She isn't for any of that stuff, but does support people's right to just like be who they want to be. Kind of a conservative notion of that. So having the flag in the profile, probably not a good optics thing, but her position on it isn't like DEI stuff. If you know what I'm getting at with that. And I'm not being apologetic here. I'm just, stating that it's more of a conservative position on that, or even a libertarian position in that way. Voting out those neoliberals is like trying to evict squatters. That's actually a really good analogy. That's a really good analogy. Diane Sylvain with another 20 says, do you think Pierre has bad advice with his public relations folks, or what is going on? It really irritated me also that he did not get it out of the gate. Yes, this is what I think is happening. Penny D with $2 says, thanks, Clyde. So Lantsman has supported UBI recently. So it wasn't recently, it was a while back. And I heard her try to like explain it. It was a bad explainer, and it really just kind of showed that she wasn't knowledgeable on that subject. I'm going to throw that one out there, and that's my criticism. The lack of knowledge on the subject, and that sucks, because you don't want that in your representatives. You don't want that in your representatives. So I don't think she was pushing for like a real left-wing agenda kind of thing, but she was kind of hitting it from like almost like a Joe Rogan kind of perspective, which he's also walked back, once realized, and once more information came to light in that. Of course, getting support on this one as well. But what was the thing? I wanted to address this. What is going on? I think he's got PR people. I think Pierre's got PR people, and he's listening to them, and I think it's a mistake, because when you hear Pierre off the cuff, it's not the same practice polished Pierre. Do you get what I'm saying? Off the cuff, we get the Apple moment with the reporter. Off the cuff, you get some really great speeches. Off the cuff in interviews, his interview with Jordan Peterson, fantastic. You cannot whoa 3.5 hours in this, so that'll do it to your voice. You can't have a long form conversation with someone like Jordan Peterson, and if you're not genuine, not come across as fake, or at least come across as like polished responses. You've practiced this. It didn't come across that way. It didn't come across that way at all. And this is why I think that it seems Clyde needs some milk. I know the meme. He needs some milk. not none of that dairy lobby milk. Don't forget it. Let me get on that wobbly pop. And I think I'm going to end it on this note, because we've been going for a while. I love this comment. So Buna Capital says, that's okay, Clyde. At least there's a man we can work with, which is what I was kind of getting at. They ain't no saviors. We have to put in the work. Yes, that's true. I said, oh, don't get me wrong. I'm glad for that, but it's healthy to strive for better always. It absolutely is. I could read all these comments. There are a lot of really, really good comments in this one. But I'll spare you guys. I want to just put this out there. I think Pierre is doing. I think Pierre is great in the position of where he is. I think the consultants are the ones running these pressers and the Twitter statements in the pressing times, instead of him being able to just respond to things organically, which I think people are striving for. I think the reason why Donald Trump really accelerated in the last election is he listened to his son, his youngest son, Barron, who's young, understands the new generation, understands the new demographics, understands the new media landscape. You don't have to be in the new generation to be a part of this new media landscape. But this new media landscape has changed completely. People don't want polished politicians anymore. People don't want rehearsed, hairdo and all this other stuff. And yeah, great. He did a makeover and he doesn't wear glasses anymore. People still like me. I wear my glasses. I'm fine. What people like is the raw nature of it. They like the unpolished. They like the I feel like I'm relating with you now. You don't do that when you're saying the same line over and over and over again. Where it got kind of gross was hearing the same line about the mom burying her head and her face in her hands. Like, you hear that once, you're like, okay, but when you hear it the 7th time, you're like, that's a rehearsed line. You're not actually feeling the depth of the emotion that goes into that, for what's actually being said there. People don't like that. People want authenticity. And at this point, they're not just craving it, they're demanding it. And this is why Donald Trump did so well in the election. He went on Joe Rogan. He went on all these podcasts with Zoomers. He went on Zoomer podcasts. He went on, millennial podcasts. He went on Gen X podcasts. He went on all of these different things. And this is the key to success. This is where it goes. The liberals can't do this. They can't do this organically. They try to mimic it. They try to fake it because they go on their whatever podcasts with these people who have been in the industry forever. They get no views. This is a thing that they do. If I wanted to see a stiff suit, I'd prefer Mulrooney over Carney any day. Too soon? Oh no. Wow, that's a joke that I probably should have read first before reading out loud. Barron equals Joe Rogan interview. Absolutely. So Barron Trump, you can credit him for a lot of the popularity that Donald Trump had. So I know the PR team watches my content. I don't know if they watch it at the 3.5 hour mark, but if I give any advice, I would say lay off on the polished responses, and let's see a little bit more authenticity, and enough with the when Trudeau manufactures this, like, Canada is going into a trade war thing, clap back at that as, no, that's not what's happening, instead of capitulating and doing that for the media, because that's what the media wants. Tony Ludi with a $5 super chat says, when it costs $350,000 just to enter a leadership race, it's corrupt. Yeah. Or when you were able to even pay that and they still kick you out and don't tell you why. Chandra Ari, or whatever his name is. Yeah, it's totally corrupt. It's totally corrupt. Pierre should go on Joe Rogan. I couldn't agree more. Pierre should come on my show. Do you think that'll happen? Do you think that would happen? I'll try to pull some strings. I would love him to come on the show, and of course I would give him a fair shake. I'm not against him, but I definitely want to see some more authenticity. Poor Arya, he didn't get a refund. I bet. No, I bet he didn't. But yeah, if I could get Pierre on the show, I would absolutely love that. But that's my sentiment. I think that's my sentiment for tonight's stream. It's not the whole stream. There's been a lot of stuff talked about tonight, but that's where we're at. I'd like to see some more authenticity. I think that is the goal to winning the election entirely, would be to bring forward more of that authenticity. People would appreciate that a lot more, and people would feel more comfortable. There's this weird uncanny valley with the inauthentic. And for all the PPC guys out there, I'm not trying to pick a fight with you or anything like that, but I've had Max on the show twice. Never got a feeling of authenticity, not at all. Felt very polished, felt very rehearsed, and that's the impression that I got from that. So again, not trying to pick a fight, just like I'm throwing that one out there. Anyway, we'll see you guys over in the Discord. We're going to continue this, unbelievably, even though I've been doing this for 3.5 hours now. We're going to go over to the Discord, check it out. If we don't see you in there, we'll definitely see you on Monday. We're going to get right back to the same old routine, get right back at her. No, what am I talking about? We're going to see you tomorrow. We're going to see you tomorrow at 6:30 Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern. I've got a special guest, a special show happening tomorrow. We're gonna have Jeff Rath. I compare him to the Canadian Alex Jones. It will be very entertaining. Don't worry about that. We're gonna be talking about this trade situation with Canada. Before we go live, we're gonna have a chat, and we're gonna be having a chat about vaccines. And he's a lawyer in Alberta. He's suing the government. He's had some very successful cases with the Alberta government, and he's also suing the government over the vaccine stuff that rolled out. The reason why we're going to be doing a recording ahead of time is that'll be later published on X, because it's stuff that you cannot discuss on this platform. So tune in tomorrow night, though, after we have that chat that'll be recorded separately. We're gonna go live, and we're gonna have the same sort of format that we have with the Marty and Clyde show, or whenever I bring a guest. It'll be live chat and then into questions and answers. I think you guys will have a lot of curiosity. There'll be a lot of questions that you guys will want to be asking Jeff tomorrow night. So tune in for that. I'm excited for it. I love having him on. He's a ball of energy. He's absolutely a ball of energy. I actually have to catch up with him. It's something else. So we'll see you in the Discord. If we don't see you then, we'll see you tomorrow night, 6:30 Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern. Everybody keep on trucking. We'll see you then.